We can do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting glitch screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour. How are all you vital idols doing? I hope you feeling good, because you know your boy is feeling good. Magnanimous even, because y'all gave me some pretty brilliant stuff to go over today. I mean, not just what we got in the headline, right? Not just what we got in the headline. Yeah, we got 4chan actually lawyering up to destroy the UK. We got Australian comedians just going ham on woke culture, which I'm surprised they're even allowed to do in Australia, considering they don't have free speech. A video that I've been wanting to cover for a little bit now. It's been out for a few days. It's been all over my recommended feed about whether or not, old Zelda was better. Some insane Sonic fan games I'm actually terrified to get into a video on. It's going to be good, guys. It's going to be good. Also, the problem with the woke left isn't the woke part. Wait, what? Sargon, you're gonna have to make a real good case for that. So yeah, we got plenty to go over. So hopefully, y'all, I'm gonna get you through this lunch. I'm gonna get you through this lunch hour. It's hump day. It's the day before a holiday. Make sure you're eating plenty of protein. Your boy got that green tea, no sugar, and it's incredibly fresh and hot. So I'm not gonna take a drink like I usually do. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So who we got in the house today? Valiant Goat is here. Wire to Bly is in the house. Grave Master, you got Grave 1383, Jack S, shout out, Gal Carrymon is here, Fallen Angel is in the house, Golden Apples, we got Zalozi. Yo, guys, it's great to see you. So why don't we just cut the chase, excuse me, cut the niceties, we'll just get right into it, right? We're going to destroy the Online Safety Act. Meet the top lawyer waging war on Ofcom. Oh, dude, let's go. Did any of you think going into this that 4chan might be the true savior of free speech?
They were trying to bully American citizens. They're threatening them with fines. They're threatening them with imprisonment. Ofcom started sending stupid letters to American companies in February of this year. $10 million per threat. So in 4chan's case, 6 letters, 6 threats.
Dude, the gall of the UK to try and sue an American company for breaking their laws, their draconian speech laws.
That's $60 million. Ofcom attempted to assert its authority over 4chan, and 4chan told Ofcom to go to hell. The sending of these letters and the purporting to have authority over American speech was a grave threat to American civil liberties, and I was given the mandate and instructions to wage war on the Online Safety Act and destroy it, and that is what we are in the process of doing.
Bingo, bango, bongo. You'll love to see. For those of y'all that don't know who this guy is, I didn't know who he was either. Now, I haven't seen this video yet. Obviously, this is a reaction. But I did do a little, like cursory, Google searching right beforehand just to figure it out. So, dude on the right, dude with the glasses, is an actual lawyer. This is the dude who is going to take the UK to task.
Preston Byrne, thank you for joining us on the Guido Show. Could you just start by explaining why we're here? Because what is really going on with 4chan, you guys, and Ofcom?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a broader thing than just 4chan. Basically, the United Kingdom's Office for Communications, Ofcom, started sending stupid letters to American companies in February of this year. I was instructed to represent every single one of those.
Why does this dude look like every single cast member from the Daily Wire all rolled into one?
Recipients of those stupid letters. And my mandate was to essentially, I mean, these letters aren't enforceable in the United States, right? Ofcom has to go over and domesticate them here, and that's never going to happen because of the First Amendment. And so my clients retain me. I'm working pro bono. And the mandate, of course, because there's not really a whole lot to defend. It's just that
he's working pro bono. I guess we know he's not Jewish.
They send the letters, we ignore them. Was that we recognize that the sending of these letters and the purporting to have authority over American speech was a grave threat to American civil liberties. And I was given the mandate and instructions to wage war on the Online Safety Act and destroy it. And that
use that sort of rhetoric, bro. Use it. This is a war. We call this a culture war. We talk about the culture war. Guys, the culture war ain't just about pointing out ugly broads in fucking video games, right? Don't get me wrong. That's a component of it. It's a very noticeable thing. But no, the actual culture war is the war on the American culture that is, first and foremost, free speech. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Censorship, absolutely a problem. We need to address censorship. And censorship comes in many forms. You know, censoring, again, like I said, attractive broads in video gaming. But at the core of this, it comes down to what you can and can't say, and bowing and kowtowing to these world governments that think that they can oppress you with something as major as your right to speak. So yes, waging war is actually a very appropriate terminology. This is a war on the fundamental basics of our American civilization.
That is what we are in the process of doing.
So with 4chan specifically, they were fined £20,000 this year by Ofcom via the Online Safety Act almost as soon as it was implemented. And Ofcom, or rather 4chan, are refusing to pay. I understand that. So where are we with that? You're still in the midst of that battle as well, specifically.
It shouldn't really be a battle. It shouldn't be a battle. How are you going to enforce it? How are you going to enforce it? Like, short of the UK sending some armed folk to the the 4chan headquarters to collect some payment, how are you going to enforce this? And by the way, the last couple of times, actually, because people forget about the War of 1812, the UK decided to try and, try some shit over here in our homeland. Didn't work out too well for them.
I mean, it's not really a battle. Ofcom attempted to assert, it's not really a battle. Ofcom attempted to assert its authority over 4chan, and 4chan told Ofcom to go to hell. And so Ofcom is going through its own internal procedure, rather like a game of, kabuki theater, where it's play acting to have the ability to enforce this law against American citizens. And we're just kind of, I mean, I sent them a Pepe meme yesterday in response to one of their emails.
We are living in a society where a lawyer sent a British political agency a Pepe meme as a response, as a go fuck yourself. Dude, look, I know we got a lot going on in the world right now. I know we got fucking brown people blowing each other up in the Middle East and shit. I know we got the left, cutting the cock off a 12-year-old little Timmy or whatnot because he likes to play with Barbies or whatever. But I still think we live in the best timeline.
We're just having fun at this point. We're doing it for the lulz. And we're also doing it because we're caught every time an Ofcom communication crosses the American border. Within 60 minutes of transmission, right, it's in my inbox, I usually receive it, and then within 5 minutes of my having completed a review, it's in a dozen government inboxes at state and federal level here in the United States. So every time Ofcom does something, it's immediately visible at multiple levels of American state and federal government. And so please send more. You're making the case. Ofcom really is making, honestly, send more. Send as many emails as you want. Because what Ofcom is doing is they're trying to bully American citizens. They're threatening them with fines. They're threatening them with imprisonment. We have been really clear, and until very, very recently, we were fairly professional about it. But now it's just getting so ridiculous that we're responding with memes.
You don't need to be professional about it. It's nice that you started off professional, but you didn't need to start off professional. Yeah, this is the UK we're talking about. These are the Brits. We don't care. You have no say over here. Fix your fucking teeth, learn to pronounce the letter R, and shut the fuck up and let us speak the way we want to speak. Don't you guys got an infestation of Muslim grooming gangs coming after your 9-year-old little girls over there in your country? How about you worry about that than whether or not, people over here in America make fun of your fat politicians for being fat?
That we've been really clear that this stuff isn't enforceable here. If Ofcom wants to have a discussion about enforcing an Online Safety Act fine, there's a really easy way for them to do this. They can go use an international service convention, service properly, bring a case in a U.S. court, try to enforce the fine domestically, and then we'll have a conversation in front of a U.S. judge. And
that conversation will go, ha ha, throw that bitch out of here, you dirty fucking Brits.
Couldn't do that, right? So what we had to, because it's a giant intimidation racket, and so what we did is we dragged them into court in D.C., kicking and screaming, and we said, okay, if you won't come over here and do this properly, we'll drag you over here and we'll make you talk about it. So where we are is that there's a lawsuit in D.C. that's not going to be dispositive on the outcome of this dispute, which is really in the hands of Congress and the states. So Ofcom continues to send their letters, and we continue to use those letters as political ammunition here in the United States to agitate for legislative reform.
And they argue that they're protected by sovereign.
Hey, shout out Yarnwich! Thank you so much for the raid, girly.
How are they counteracting this?
I don't want to get into too much nitty gritty on the litigation because it's still live.
Yeah.
But we've asserted that they're not entitled to sovereign immunity. They've asserted that they are. They'll make their arguments. We'll make, as they're entitled to do. We'll make our arguments as we're entitled to do. I think politically, it's certainly interesting that Ofcom, which purports to be...
Yeah, they're entitled to it. Sure, they're entitled to make their argument. Just like you're entitled to come up to me and say, Leon, I'm hungry. All right, you're entitled to say that. Don't mean I got to make you a fucking sandwich. Why do I look like a woman?
An independent regulator and all this jazz comes over to America and says, the First Amendment doesn't protect your...
And I get that I've got really long hair, but that doesn't mean I look like a woman. Just clarifying.
Clients, and doesn't protect Americans from us, but it certainly protects us from Americans, right? The U.S. Constitution protects us, but it doesn't protect you. And so really there's a lesson for our politicians there. I think our politicians have received the message, but as to the litigation itself, they'll make their arguments, we'll make our arguments, and we'll see, the federal courts are plenty backed up after the government shutdown, so maybe a judge will rule on it in 6 months.
And the Online Safety Act, this is just
4chan. If any of y'all 4chan users, as an ex-4chan user myself, if any of y'all are watching, in that 6 months, give them hell. Don't stop. Make it even worse. Like, again, we're living in the timeline where 4chan, the folk that get their kicks, that for jollies, convince people that putting, duct taping, this is a real thing they did on 4chan, and I'm not fucking condoning this, by the way, don't anyone try this, but told people to wrap duct tape in about 6 to 7 layers around your, silverware, a spoon, for example, hold that spoon, over a hot stove to superheat it, and then run it under cold water, a cold running faucet, and then they basically set it up as if it was a science experiment and that something cool will happen. Yeah, the cool thing that will happen, guys, is you basically just made a fucking silverware shrapnel grenade that is now duct taped to your fucking hand. It is immensely dangerous. The point is, people on 4chan get their kicks trying to hurt other motherfuckers for fun, for the lulz. 4chan's a wild fucking place, guys. However, they are literally fighting for the true and ultimate free speech here in America. That is the timeline we live in. It is kind of amazing.
Killing free speech in the UK, right? What are your thoughts on this overall? I can guess what you're going to say, but
How do you mean?
What are you feeling over in the US? Are you guys looking at this act with aghast and thinking the British have gone mad?
We're gonna when we're done fortifying our own perimeter, we're gonna come over to England and we're gonna sort that out too. There are forces in both the conservative and reform movements that are looking very seriously at reforming UK free speech law, and those are the guys who really need to be the standard bearers. I've written some proposals, but there are lots of free speech activists, and I think there's a new, really resurgence of traditional civil libertarian thinking in both of those parties. Which I think once Labor's out of power, right, it can't come too soon, but I think once they're out of power, I think we're going to see some significant free speech reform.
Are they even wilder than the Kiwis? Are you asking if 4chan goes harder than Kiwi Farms? Yes and no. 4chan and Kiwi Farms kind of equal, but their goals are different. So 4chan will go after anyone, right? 4chan will go after anyone for the lulz, just like randos. Kiwi Farms, I would say, goes harder, but Kiwi Farms focuses on high profile, not even high profile, but even moderate profile internet personalities. So Kiwi Farms is a specific target type of folk that they go after. They go after them harder though. 4chan maybe not necessarily always goes as hard, but casts a much wider net.
Regardless of who's elected, unless the Greens get in which case, just get out of the country.
Well, yeah, we're all in trouble then, aren't we?
Yeah, we're all in trouble.
Next? What comes next in the battle?
So the battle really, what I think Ofcom in London don't get, and I think hopefully they will get it after this conversation, is that the venue moved from London to Washington, D.C. in July. So Peter Kyle ran around. He did this big national TV push. He went on Newsnight and said, we have the power to shut down any platform. And I made sure that my buddies...
They don't, by the way. They do not have that power. They do within their own country, sure. Not over here, bitch.
In the federal government saw that, and that really steeled our resolve, right, in the targets of the UK and of Ofcom to prove them wrong and say, no, you don't have the power to shut down an American platform. So what comes next? We've introduced a bill, or not introduced, we've filed, a state legislator has filed a bill in Wyoming, which I like to, it's called the Granite Act. Granite, as in the rock, that stands for Guaranteeing Rights Against Novel International Tyranny and Extortion. So it's a...
Now, to be fair, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge we got our own problems over here when it comes to censorship and online safety bills, our own version of what they've got going on in the UK. Obviously, we all know what's going down in Texas, which is a complete unconstitutional catastrophe. So it's not to say the US is perfect. Frankly, I feel like we got to focus our efforts here as well in shutting that shit down. But we also got to make an example of them fucking Brits over there that try and think they can do that for us. So really, it's a war on two fronts. It's a war against them over there across the pond that think they can tell us how to use our fucking free speech. And it's a war, here on the homeland, here on the home front about, why are our own governments, local, state, city, whatever, what have you, also trying to censor and destroy free speech here on the internet. Not just on the internet, really in general. So mind you, US ain't perfect, and I do feel like I should go ahead and acknowledge that.
A little acronym, and that is what I call it's a pro-free speech Death Star of a law. What it does is it says that US, it's a Death Star. So if we enact this in the United States, and even really in only one state, it'll be very, very damaging to the USA. But if we get federal companion legislation, then it'll be fatal to the USA. And what that does is it says that US state entities and government entities can't cooperate with censorship requests, that those censorship demands are not enforceable on US soil, and critically, that sovereign immunity is...
I don't know why we need a bill for that. I'm pretty sure that's pretty obviously already laid out by our fucking Constitution. The whole shall not be infringed. I guess shall not be infringed, the Second Amendment. But, the Second Amendment's there to protect the First Amendment. What do we need a bill for? We already have the goddamn Constitution. Maybe there's a reason for it. Again, I ain't a liar. I ain't a fucking legal scholar. So I'm sure there's a reason for it, but y'all know how I feel about governments and bills and all the extra red tape and shit. Any new law, is often just used as a way to make things harder and worse for the working class, for the regular individual. Stuff that politicians are going to skirt, even if they're good in theory, they're going to end up bad in practice. You get someone in office who, is going to find a way to exploit that or use a loophole. So again, I don't necessarily know if the Granite Act is a good thing or why it's even being implemented, but let's just take this, at face value for this.
Stripped for any foreign entity, state, agency or individual, and they are jointly and severally liable for titanic quantities of damages if they attempt to send one of these censorship notices in the United States. The draft that has been filed says that it's either treble actual damages, the greater of treble actual damages, $10 million per threat. So in 4chan's case, 6 letters, 6 threats, $60 million, or treble the quantity of the maximum fine. So in Facebook's case, for example, Meta, if they communicated a 10% global revenue fine, their global revenues are $164 billion. So that would be a 30% fine, which is about $49 billion in damages, which is roughly equal to the amount of sovereign assets the United Kingdom holds.
Dude, and imagine... Hold on. Imagine, let's use his X example, right? Let's use his X example. Pretty great now that, Elon put that thing into place that shows where these accounts are connected from. Dude, the amount of Chinese and Israel and Brazilian and just basically all these foreign propagandists coming in and saying ridiculous shit, posing as Americans. Imagine if, you got some Chinese or Israeli account posing as an American, saying ridiculous shit. The UK, fines X or whatever on behalf of, thinking that it's an American account. In all reality, it was just a way to weaken our infrastructure because we've got these foreign agents posing as Americans. So, this is something that could have been easily exploited and still technically could potentially be exploited because people on the internet pose as Americans anyway. So, yeah, this goes well beyond. I really like his X argument because this goes well beyond, 4chan, for example.
American banks. So if they want to toy with that, if we can get something like that enacted, the Granite Act, at state level, it'll be very, very damaging because companies will be able to reincorporate in that state and then raise the shield. But if we get federal action on this as well, and we're optimistic that the states leading this effort will prompt federal action, although there certainly hasn't been any federal action yet. If we can do that, then it's over, right? And we're not just, to be clear about what our objective is here, we're not simply saying, oh no, our position is that Americans don't have to comply with the Online Safety Act and we will allow this conduct to continue. The objective of what we have been doing for the last 6 months is the complete and utter destruction of the Online Safety Act as an instrument of British government policy. Able to harm Americans, and we want to take that ability away. And the way we take it away is by enacting very clear and express censorship shields, and by ensuring that any country, Australia, UK, Singapore, New Zealand, Canada, France, Belgium, Germany, whoever, that attempts this in future.
All lesser countries. Everyone he just listed, lesser country. Why are they a lesser country? Because they ain't America.
Will not be able to touch the U.S. financial system without risking a major asset seizure order, right? They've been running around threatening us with fines and asset seizures. Okay, now it's our turn.
All right, so is the Death Star laser, is that going to tilt and pivot towards...
Death Star laser, bro? Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's got a little chubby, right? She heard space laser, she's like, oh shit, where? She got a little bit excited.
Ofcom itself, you're going to blast through the Online Safety Act, but Ofcom themselves, are you coming for them as well?
So the Death Star laser is expressed to apply jointly and severally to the foreign state, any agency which carries out the censorship on behalf of the foreign state, and any individual working at that agency who collaborates with it. So it's a joint and several liability term. It's not specifically targeting Ofcom, right? It's specifically targeting, in future. We don't do ex post facto law in the United States, unlike the UK, which can do retroactive law under its constitution. But in the US, we aren't allowed to do that. So the idea would be whatever, Ofcom's done to date, that's water under the bridge. But going forward, right, we want to erect a shield. And if you try to get through that shield, the laser is going to be pointed at you. And you're not going to need to wait for the State Department, and you're not going to need to wait for the Congress.
I love the Death Star analogy. Why? Because the UK is trying to take away free speech for Alderaan reasons.
Or anything else, we want to put that laser in the hands of the most powerful force on earth apart from compound interest, the American plaintiffs bar. And so the American trial lawyers. And we think that would be a very significant deterrent to any future censorship inbound to the United States. So this law is, if it has not been introduced in Wyoming, or not introduced, filed, obviously there's a whole process that the bill would need to go through. It'd need to make it through committee. It'd need to get introduced. It's been filed or will be filed very shortly in Wyoming. Currently waiting for confirmation on that. We are moving towards filing an identical bill in the state of New Hampshire. That copies of that legislation have been provided to the relevant staffers in various federal agencies for their consideration. And we're hoping that the rapid movement of state action to do this, and we've got all kinds of censorship problems. They've just tried to hail Julian Grant before Congress to testify.
Okay, he says we've got all kinds of censorship problems. I assume he means here in the U.S. Good. I'm glad he's acknowledging that.
By December the 2nd. So there are a lot of different censorship regimes, and our objective has always been this entire time the complete and total destruction of them all. And I think with filing bills like this, we're well on our way to accomplishing that.
Yeah, I don't know that filing bills like this is going to help. I mean, like I said, the whole idea is that our Constitution is supposed to protect this shit, right? Our Constitution out the gate, it's already supposed to protect free speech. So the idea that just introducing another bill at the state level will somehow miraculously get this to go away, no, these forces in charge, what you call them, New World Order, World Economic Forum, Illuminati, One World Government, whatever you want to say, these forces in charge, some of which are absolutely embedded here in the U.S. as well. It's not just Israel, it's not just China, it's not just Russia, it's not just all these other countries. They're working here within the bowels of the deep state in America. They're going to do anything and everything they can to attempt to take away our free speech and our rights as individuals here in the U.S. So I don't see how just enacting another bill, even if it's at the state level, will actually fix it. But I'm glad that there are at least people who are acknowledging it, doing what they can to fight against it, if this guy is to be trusted. I say if he's to be trusted because, I mean, at the end of the day, he is a lawyer. And how do you know that a lawyer is lying? His lips are moving. So, needless to say, take it with a grain of salt. But at least, in theory, what he's saying is good. Also, shout out, thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker, Piranha Pout. Truly appreciate you.
What's the mood, I wonder? I haven't seen too much agitation from the White House over this. I mean, you see Starmer and Trump appear to have a kind of cozy-ish transactional relationship. But do you see this becoming a bigger problem and it getting on the White House's radar at any point, particularly as you escalate this action?
I know nothing other than what has been reported in outlets like the Daily Telegraph. I barely even know the White House exists. I couldn't even find it on a map. So no, I know nothing other than what's been publicly reported. What has been publicly reported is that they were. I mean, and I can understand why. Apparently, this is a massive trade headache with Europe. There was Cloudflare, which runs the entire internet, as anyone who tried to use Wix yesterday found out. Wrote a really compelling letter to the U.S. Trade Representative, which is an executive office agency, and they explained all the problems they've got with various censorship regimes from all around the world, basically trying to meddle with their business and what a compliance headache it is, and how things used to be so much better when America just was the hyperpower and everyone stopped trying to regulate us.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, let's say this and let's extrapolate this further. All right, sure, we got lots of other lots of other countries trying to flex their censorship muscles, trying to say what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do on the internet, and that's all well and good. You keep lining them up, we'll keep knocking them down. That being said, how does this affect the almighty dollar, right? What about these payment processors that we've seen that are forcing and enacting all sorts of censorship on American properties, American businesses, like, say, for example, Steam. We've seen a massive influx of censorship on Steam, which was a very heavily anti-censorship platform for the longest time. Like, are you still going to bow and kowtow to the payment processors? Because lest you forget, we talked about this on stream months ago. We went through all the politicians that Visa, MasterCard, these payment processing companies donated to. It wasn't just on one side of the aisle. They donated to both the left and the right. Why do they donate to both the left and the right? Because you want both sides of the uniparty in your fucking pocket so they do what they want you to do. So yeah, at the end of the day, you got payment processors, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, the list goes on, that are notably more powerful than any single first world government because they're the global payment processors for the world over. Are you going to actually try and take them to task? Don't get me wrong. Again, I like where this is going. I like the idea of taking on the UK, saying fuck you for your attempted censorship. But I want you to put your money where your mouth is and see if you can actually go over the people that are funding the politicians. See if they're A-okay with that money drying up.
So I think there's a lot of appetite, certainly from industry in the United States. There's appetite from individuals in the United States who were censored under the Biden administration. The reporting has indicated that the White House certainly regards this as a primary concern. And,
What up,
part of
Gooch?
the thing we're doing with the states is we're trying to give the White House some options, right? Demonstrate. Listen, there's an option that takes this off your plate, right? And just lets American trial lawyers handle it. So if the Europeans complain about it, it's like, oh, we're really sorry. All those crazy,
It shouldn't be on the White House's plate to begin with. I can't stress this enough, and I'm going to keep stressing it, right? This shouldn't be on the White House's plate. Why? Because whether it be Trump or whoever's in charge, Democrat, Republican, whatnot, the point is, this is a foreign government. This is a foreign country trying to tell private American companies what they can and can't say. The White House's default response should be, go fuck yourself. That's simple. Again, I don't get, maybe, again, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe there's a lot more red tape and shit that I'm just not aware of because I'm just a dude that talks to a fucking webcam on the internet. I'm kind of a big dumb guy like that. Needless to say, though, I don't see the point of this. see the point of this. To me, this should be very easy for whatever side's in charge to tell the UK or any country for that matter, yo, this is our country. You don't like it, fucking bounce.
of guns in Congress enacted the silly rule, and you got to go deal with Quinn Emanuel now. Anytime you want to serve a censorship notice on X, we're really sorry, but we can't. Those pesky lawyers, we don't like them either. President Trump really doesn't like him. Elon doesn't like him, etc. That kind of jazz.
Yeah.
But we're trying to create an option here for the government to get this issue off its plate, so they can focus on the business of making America great again.
Lovely. Well, Preston, best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yep, that was a good video. Quite enjoyed that. I'm going to link it in the chat for you guys. I'm glad to see that something's being done about this. At least it seems like something's being done about this. Hopefully it's not all just for optics' sake. I mean, again, there's some language in there that I'm not particularly fond of. Again, I don't like the idea of enacting new laws when our Constitution should, kind of cover this shit by default. But at the end of the day, if the UK wants to try and flex their censorship muscles, then we're going to tell them what we need to tell them. If it means we got to take it to some sort of court, then that's what we're going to do. I love the irony. You've got this lawyer working pro bono for 4chan. And again, say what you want about 4chan. You can love them, you can hate them. They're kind of a cesspool, and I mean that with all the love in the world. Again, as an ex-4chaner myself. But yeah, no, 4chan, let's be real, they got themselves a bit of a reputation on the internet, and they got that reputation for a reason. That being said, hey, if it's them, drawing the line on the front lines of the free speech movement, of defending our God-given rights, shit, that's all you gotta say, homie. I'm in. Sign me up. These are my opinions. Some of yours in the comments down below. Let me know on X. You can find me about the word, and please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about what's going on with internet censorship, but anime, movies, music, Magic Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord. Choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis. Choose the videos to react to on the daily streams, and of course get involved with over 250 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity. Diversity of thought. That's interesting to you. Join the Discord. Hit subscribe. Until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise. Obviously, that is not the end of the show. This is definitely getting clipped into a video. But we're off to a good start. We're off to a good start, because we ain't just talking about politics and censorship on the left and the right. The problem with the woke left isn't the woke part. Whoa. Okay, wait. I'm gonna need you to explain this one. I'm gonna need you to explain this one to me like I'm 5, Sargon. And you a smart dude. I like a lot of what you say. But I think you're really gonna need to make me understand this, because here's the dealio. Woke is absolutely the problem. I know a lot of people like to pretend the woke right doesn't exist, but it does. Now, wokeism is far worse on the left, but let's be real, wokeism exists on the right as well. The woke right's a thing. So to me, woke is definitely a problem, but I'll reserve judgment. Let's check it out.
I thought we'd have a quick chat about the schism on the right, because this whole thing...
Is he actually going to talk about the same thing I just mentioned, the woke right? Interesting. All right.
I think probably was inevitable, and only actually resolves in one way. So you've got people like James Lindsay and the rest of the sort of centre-right types. Joel Berry was on Tim Pool's podcast yesterday discussing this, and they're deeply concerned about something they call the woke right. And I spoke to James about this.
Accidentally called it. Am I good at my job, or am I good at my fucking job?
last art conference, and he told me that he deliberately used this term frivolously in order to sow discord on the right, because what's actually happening here is that the Buckleyite libs are reacting to the rise of a new form of ethno-nationalism on the right that resembles, but is not accurate or concurrent to, a sort of degenerated form of Nazism. And they want to make sure their movement isn't caught up with it. And from their perspective, this is understandable. You can see why this is something that bothers them. And they can't just call them Nazis.
Well, I mean, it bothers them because it's horseshoe theory. It bothers them because it's horseshoe theory. They're looking in the mirror. They see the woke left, the identitarian left sees themselves, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, sees themselves in the woke right. And they realize what a problem that is. They realize this is a net negative for them. They also realize that this is what they have been for the last 10, 15, 20 years, if we want to go into the academia aspect. Shit, you can even go back to the 60s with Yuri Bezmenov and, whether or not, we want to talk about behind closed doors and the slow roll up to this. The point is, yeah, they have been employing these tactics, these political and academic tactics for the last several years, and they have been winning. That's what got us into this mess. Well, they don't want the tables being turned and having that same identitarian ideological tools used against them, these ideological weapons used against them, because they know how successful it is. So yeah, I think that makes perfect sense.
Because, of course, the left has been crying wolf for many years and made calling someone a Nazi a rather unfashionable thing. And so, with this being passé...
I don't know about unfashionable. Look, say what you want about the Nazis, but they had pretty fucking great fashion. That's what he means, right?
They need some new ideological tool in order to stipulate who they're talking about. But the problem is, these people basically aren't woke. It's not that they are woke. What it is that they are self-interested, and they are reacting...
If he's trying to claim the woke right isn't woke, then we're gonna need to, I'm gonna need him to explain that to me, because here, by the way, definitionally, there's a couple different ways to define woke, right? People say, oh, you can't define woke, you can't define. Well, yeah, there is. There's a couple different ways. Now, a lot of people use it, in the entertainment industry, like, oh, we hate how woke movies have gotten this, that, and the other. And yeah, there's you can use it like that. And in that instance, I would define it as you're putting some sort of social and or ideological message above the narrative, the story, the characters, but that's not the context in which we're using woke here. When we're using woke here, we're talking about employing the tools of social Marxism to get a political advantage. And I would say that the woke right is doing that. Now they're doing it under the guise of, capitalism, religion, things like that, which, by the way, now mind you, obviously this isn't a critique of capitalism. Your boy very pro-fucking capitalist. Speaking of, if you want to send me some super chats, some memberships, wouldn't complain. Your boy loves capitalism, but the point is, they will use capitalism, they will use religion, they will use these, ideological talking points as a tool for basically, their own, pseudo right-wing version of cultural Marxism. And I would say that by that definition, that's why the woke right does constitute as being woke.
Against a series of power structures that they perceive, and it is in this that James is identifying the wokeness. In discussing this on my Acad Daily channel, I offhandedly said, well, the problem with the woke left isn't really the woke part, it's the left part. And I've had this thrown back in my face several times, so I just want to be categorical.
I would say they're both a problem. I would say they're both a problem. Obviously, far-left ideology is an absolute menace. Then you add the cultural Marxist aspect of wokeness to it, and now you've got, you're basically fucking dual-wielding. So, yeah, they're both problems. Like, if a dude coming at me with one gun or two guns, both are bad. I would prefer one gun, but really both are bad. Shout out Johnny for the two-banger, says, for capitalism. Truly appreciate you, homie. But the point is, yeah, when he says it's not the woke part, it's the left part, no, both are bad. Which is worse? Okay, I think we can get into an argument, and get into a debate, get into a discussion, get into the nitty-gritty as to which is worse, the left or the woke. The point is, they're both bad. I don't like folks dual-wielding weapons when I got nothing to defend myself. I don't like people having one weapon if I got nothing to defend myself, which is why your boy stays strapped. Hashtag 2A.
Goric. That statement is true. That is completely correct, and I stand by it, because actually the problem isn't the woke part, It is the left part, because the left part is what informs the woke part. I will explain, but the people who are reacting to this, they've been primed by James Lindsay and Joel
That's
Berry to
exactly
react
correct,
to
Tiger
this,
King.
are just reacting from ignorance. They just don't know what they're dealing with. However, I do know what they're dealing with, because I spent the last, 7 or 8 years deeply studying left-wing ideology through their primary texts. I would read their university books. I would read the books that they brought to bear on the poor students in the universities to make them into woke leftists. And so I went through all of these. I went through all of the critical theory manuals and like the tomes and the lectures that I had to study. I listened to their thought leaders. And then I also did my philosophy degree, and I also did my master's degree in philosophy studying liberalism. So I have a much better grasp of liberalism and leftism than any of these people who are calling me names. And I am telling you that the difference...
Well, now Sargon's a smart guy. I'm curious if he is using liberalism correctly. I mean, he is using liberalism correctly here. I'm wondering if he's going to properly address it in the left versus right paradigm in the U.S. because liberalism colloquially in the U.S. has a different meaning than it does in the U.K. Now, it shouldn't, but it does. So what he is defining as liberalism is correct on paper, but that's not how people typically would use it in the U.S. And I wonder if he'll address that. He's going to make an interesting argument, I think.
Between the only difference, really, apart from the depth of knowledge, but the only real difference between myself and the centre-right critics of woke is that I let my attachment to liberalism go. I realised that fundamentally is a teleological ideology that is trying to create something, and so I can approach this subject without moral investment, without emotional investment in it, because...
Okay, did he correct himself? I'm gonna go back. Did he correct himself when he said, when he went from when he said moral investment from emotional to moral to emotional? Because you should have moral investment in it, especially if you believe in objective morality. So, or did he say and?
Subject without moral investment, without emotional investment.
Okay, it sounds like he corrected himself. It changed it from moral to emotional. If that's the case, then yes, I would say he's correct.
Because James Lindsay and Joel Berry are trying to defend liberalism, and frankly, I think that that's where the problem lies. Woke itself is actually not the issue. Woke is what we colloquially call intersectionality, which is actually a descriptive framework that identifies the different intersections of where certain identities, and they're picked by the woke leftists themselves, but you could apply this to any identity you like, where they intersect in a social manner. This highlighting of the...
I would agree with that. Again, I would take it further because you can technically do that without going so far down to the nitty-gritty of cultural Marxism. But on the surface, I would say he's correct there.
Interaction between personal identities and people purports to describe how wider society is construed. Woke, then, is actually a tool developed by the communists to identify those points of weakness in the hierarchy of society, so they could, in Gramscian fashion, formulate their arguments to further tear them down.
Okay, it's interesting that he referred to wokeism as a tool, because if so, I think I know the argument he's going to make. Let's take this same argument, and let's use it for something corporeal. Let's use it for something real, right? Let's take guns, right? Guns aren't good or bad, right? Not intrinsically, not inherently. Guns are a tool. Good people can use guns for good. Bad people use guns for bad. The tool isn't the problem. The individual wielding the tool is. So if that's the argument he's going with as to why the left is what's bad, not the woke, because the woke is just the tool being used by the left, I get what he's saying. I would still probably disagree that it's... I would agree with him that the left is worse, but not that woke as a tool is inherently a net, a neutral. But maybe that's not the argument he's going to make. I'm just guessing.
To further equalize society. The issue is not actually that identification, because the identification of the structures of society is something that anyone can do. And honestly, if you want to have a proper understanding of society, you kind of do need to do that. And if you don't do that, what you're actually doing is rendering yourself willfully blind. I mean, one of the criticisms the woke left have of the sort of centre-right liberals is actually the liberal mysticism that I've been talking about, that it deliberately obscures things that are otherwise true about society. The woke left doesn't have a monopoly on
See, all right, we're going to back it up because I want to hear what he has to say, but because I think he's about to go into a new thought process. But when he says the center-right liberals, again, that I would assume he is speaking from a UK point of view there, because the idea of a center-right liberal in the US, colloquially, is an oxymoron. Those two things can't really exist congruently with one another. Now, you could say that maybe he means, classical liberalism and whatnot, and yeah, fair enough, but the idea of classical liberalism, again, that's not really something that's ever been an accepted or widely recognized term, at least to my knowledge, in the U.S. when talking about the dichotomy between the left and the right. So there is no center-right liberal, because to be on the right, by what we mean as left and right, is antithetical to our American definition of what liberal means. Not liberalism, but liberal. So again, I don't know. Now again, Sargon's a pretty smart dude, and he definitely knows his way around American politics. He speaks on them very eloquently. But again, I think that there might be I don't know if I want to call it a language barrier, but like there's a colloquial difference that I don't know if he's properly using here.
Things that are otherwise true about society. The woke left doesn't have a monopoly on identifying power dynamics. They just have a very easy-to-use tool and framework with which to do it, which is why there are so many woke leftists constantly making power critiques about society. But like I said, the issue is actually not that they have a descriptive lens to explain what society is actually like. The issue is the normative framework that instructs a person on what to do with that information. Woke, as in intersectionality itself, cannot actually command what ought to be done with the information that it provides. That actually does have to come from outside of intersectionality. And because the framework was designed and used by communists, obviously everyone naturally associates it very closely with the communist desire to tear everything down. And this close contact makes them look indistinguishable to...
Now, I agree with what he's saying. However, I don't think that fundamentally this discounts the existence of the woke right. Now, he's using, communism, which I agree is the end goal of the left. But on the woke right, you've got individuals that want, let's say, a Christian ethno-state, right? If they're willing to use the same tool, they're effectively going their end goal is the same, just on the opposite side of the spectrum. So like you'll use the tool to accomplish the same outcome. Frankly, I don't see a difference between communism and an ethno-state, a religious ethno-state, Christian ethno-state, Muslim ethno-state, whatever you want to call it, whatever ends up happening, or whatever we fight against happening, if I'm actually being honest here. But the point is, both would be unequivocally, equally terrible for the ideals of American freedom. So, again, I get the distinction he's making, but the end result, even if it's different, is still equally bad. I don't know if there's even a point in drawing the distinction.
The layman outside of it, but actually they aren't. It's actually quite possible to read against the grain, as it were, with woke, as an ideological lens, to identify those social structures upon which society rests and shore them up. A right-wing approach to woke ideology actually tells us where society needs help and support. But again, the liberal mysticism tries to cloud our vision and prevent us from seeing that. That's why the thing I keep saying over and over is just pick up the phone and ring your mum. Actually, the social bonds between us, these relationships between parents and children, brothers and sisters, neighbors and the local community, these are the things that actually we need to improve. And this is where
I would agree with that.
try and intercede and say, but there is a hidden power dynamic here. Yeah, there is a power dynamic between parents and child, between one person and another person. Society is hierarchical, and that is good and normal. And actually, in many respects, it's our duty to uphold these hierarchies. And so
I could not agree with them more. I could not, dude. So I'm an adult. I might not act like one. You know, I'm a fucking man-child that has a room full of action figures. That being said, at the end of the day, I'm an adult. I'm in my 30s. No matter how adult I am, I will default to my father as being higher on the hierarchy than me until the day he passes. God forbid, hope that's a very long time from now. Because my father's my elder, because my father has got more wisdom than me, he has got more life experience than me. It does not matter that we are technically peers in the eyes of the law. In the eyes of logic, reasoning, common sense, morality, he is higher on the hierarchy than me. So as would be my grandfather. As now, again, it's not just age based always. Like, yes, you can have individuals that are older than you that are lower on the hierarchy based on like choices they made in life and whatnot. But the point is, like, at a base level, he is correct. Understanding these hierarchical structures and not only adhering to them, but fighting to uphold them is a through line for a consistent and hopefully ever improving society. Yes.
So we should strengthen these social bonds. But the problem that the Joel Berrys and James Lindsays of the world have is that, well, frankly, liberalism was the original woke movement. It was designed against hierarchies, which is why it acts as a universal acid against any kind of social bond. The very purpose. Man is free and everywhere is in chains. Well, the chains themselves are these relationships.
Now, I will say, this is a very, because people will be like, oh, how can you advocate for hierarchies, if you're an anarchist? Well, there's a very simple reason for that. And I don't know if anybody's going to question that or not, but I mean, obviously, I tout all the time that, I have, anarchist beliefs. The thing is, while I do accept, the idea of hierarchies, these are, in my opinion, objective truths that come with humanity as opposed to being instituted by some sort of, controlling government body.
Are the social bonds. And woke leftism is just an attempt to more accurately define what these social bonds are. And Joel Berry and James Lindsay and all their sort of cohort, all they've done is said, no, I'm actually happy with this level of freedom. I'm a leftist from 200 years ago, and this version of leftism suits me. But it doesn't suit others, which is why they're constantly being dragged further and further to the left, and why they identify woke as the problem rather than leftism itself, because they are actually...
I think, okay, I get what he's saying, and this would be a brilliant case if you were a lawyer. This is you win on a technicality sort of thing, but again, woke as an idea is not the problem. Again, it's the person using it. At the end of the day, does that really matter? Like, I think that the idea of woke as a tool, it would be better if it was just eliminated. That way neither side could use said tool, because it's a tool that, to my knowledge, has never once been used for good. It doesn't matter if it hypothetically or theoretically could be used for good. It never has been, nor do I think it ever will be. I can't even imagine a scenario in which it could be. Now, maybe it could. Maybe I haven't thought about it enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough to rationalize one. But I can't think of a way that it could be used for good. So, yeah, even if it's not on paper inherently negative, if it's it's like communism. Communism, in theory, is pretty fucking awesome. What? Everyone is perfectly equal and there's no money and we all share and whatnot? Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking great, until you realize that human nature kind of a bitch, and that will literally never feasibly work in the physical realm. I would say wokeism is like that. Sure, maybe it's good on paper, but if it can't be accurately used for the benefit, no matter what side of the political aisle you fall on, then what's the actual benefit of even acknowledging it? So yeah, I would say that woke is still a problem. It might not be the numero uno problem, but it's still a problem.
Just old leftists. Their position is to carve woke away from the left and contain the left in the old version of the woke frame that they use. And so what they're doing is, in fact, a rearguard action in defense of the left itself. Because on a subconscious, fundamental level, they concede that the left aligns itself with their own goals. By saying, no, it's not the left that is the problem, it is the woke that is the problem, what they are saying is leftism is a core part of their own philosophy, which is why they are leaping to its defense. And I just want to be clear, I understand that they are afraid. The future is an unpredictable thing. It is much more reassuring to take solace in past iterations of the ideology. They think they have a handle on things, but unfortunately, the world has changed around them. The liberal mysticism that prevented them from seeing what was actually happening has concealed a wide array of different changes on both the left and the right. And actually, I think we should approach this with clear eyes and be just determinate and honest about what is actually happening and what is actually good for man. And so the question that they'll raise is, well, does moving beyond liberalism as the foundation of our society mean that we have to become rabid, low IQ anti-Semites or cast every minority over the cliffs of Dover or, out of the country or whatever? And the answer is no, of course not. Of course we don't have to do that. But liberalism does have the habit of fetishizing those who are not the equals of society writ large and provides them with a smokescreen so that their bad behavior...
Well, no, okay. I do vehemently disagree with him here. Sort of. Let me clarify. I think he is mostly correct. I don't like his verbiage when he says, the left and the woke and whatnot fetishize those who aren't equal. That would imply that there are those who inherently aren't equal. I reject that. Everybody is equal. At least, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the Lord or whatnot, and basically just as man, all man are created equal. It is, I think that, they fetishize the idea of creating a society that would have you believe that there are people who aren't equal, therefore now they have a mechanism to use to basically trap those who they deem, the elite, the upper crust, those who have more equality than those that they consider to be the downtrodden or whatnot. Like, it's predicated on the lie that we aren't already equal.
Can be concealed behind the rubric of systemic injustice. And this is not acceptable. This is just not an acceptable thing to have carry on. Our societies ought to be for the dominant majority groups before they are for anyone else, and therefore should...
Now, this I agree with. Yeah, this I agree with. Because your equality is on the individual level. However, when it comes to running a society, he is 100% correct. The individual is the ultimate minority, which is why you are inherently all equal. But once you get together and form these hierarchies, that equality, while it still exists on the individual level, is going to have, ebbs and flows to it, for lack of a better word, when it comes to actually making the society function.
Be calibrated to serve us before we serve others. This is not an unreasonable request. Indeed, social justice, if one wished to characterize it this way, would demand as much. And clearly, it's an idea whose time has come. Now, I realize that I'm saying a lot in this short video, but I did actually post a much longer form discussion that I had at the New Culture Forum in Bath yesterday, which I'll leave linked in the description. And in it, I explain these opinions and positions in this new non-liberal way of looking at things in much greater detail. So I'll leave a link in the description to that. Do check it out. But just to round up, I utterly stand on my point. The problem with the woke left is not really the woke part, because the woke part is purely descriptive. It is actually with the normative left part of it, which is why Joel Berry and James Lindsay are freaking out and diving to be in the way to protect the left. They are fundamentally one and the same.
Yeah, that was a good video. It was an interesting video. At the end of the day, I think that a lot of what he's saying is, again, technically true and technically correct is the best part of correct. However, I do think there is, I don't want to say flaws in his logic, because the logic is sound, but the delivery is not, is not there. It's a very interesting philosophical argument, but it's one that I don't think you could apply to the real world very easily, because it's something that just would go over most people's head. Most people are not inclined to have those sorts of, philosophical discussions. So, needless to say, like, I think there's issues with the way he worded it, and again, that could just be down to the colloquial difference between liberal versus / liberalism between the UK and the US. I would say that I agree with about 70% of what he said. The other 30% is up for debate, but it's not that he's inherently wrong. It's that I think that either the wording, the messaging, maybe the attempted outcome are all subject to further scrutiny. But either way, that was a great video. Like I said, I dropped it in the chat. You guys give it a like. You can steal people's content. We gotta at least make sure that we give them credit for it. So while we're on the topic of woke, and this will be the last thing we do on the topic of woke before we start going into some gaming stuff and whatnot. But it do gotta be done. Because I love me an Australian that will actually talk ridiculous shit about the woke left, considering they don't have free speech over there. Woke TikTok has finally gone too far. Y'all sent me a video by this guy a couple weeks ago, Isaac Butterfield, and it was fucking awesome. So you threw another one in the chat yesterday, the day before, whatnot, and I was stoked. Oh, you love to see it. All right, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I found the most insane people on the internet. We're talking trans superheroes, roasting people's genitals, free bleeding, fake babies, anxious lesbian fitness, and defunding the police, all wrapped up into one video.
Bro, this is a 2017 wet dream video. Let's go.
Let's jump into it. Showing my labia around. What the fuck is...
Yo, if this is the first video, like, hold on.
Showing my labia around...
It should not be the public library. It should be the pubic library, if that's the case.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
At the M&M store? Why the M&M store? You're a leftist. You're a woman, and you're showing your first of all, you're clearly gay. So it should be the Skittles store for those freaks that want to taste the rainbow.
Oh my God. Hang on. Okay, so if you don't know what a labia is, it's the new modern word for vagina. Now, a lot of people may not know this, but the outer part of a woman's private area is called the labia. There's the labia minora, the labia majora, the mons pubis, there's the inner labia out.
And they all sound like constellations. Hey, Timmy, look up in the sky. That's the labia majora. You see where those 4 stars interconnect? Like, right beneath Betty Orion's belt? Like, it sounds like a constellation.
Labia, Lawrence of Arabia, all of these things. The vagina.
All right, Lawrence of Arabia is actually pretty fucking goated. That's a good line.
Is actually the inside canal where you put your fucking elbow or something. A lot of really vocal activists are now trying to really stop men from using the word vagina when they're talking about a woman's private area. But what I would like to say is, shut up. Just fucking call it a fanny, whatever, okay? Jesus Christ. Why are you calling it, when you see a dick, are you calling it a penis? Or are you going to call it by the fucking gland on the top, the shaft, the scrot? Just call it what it's been called for fucking ever. So anyway, this lady's cut her labia off because she's a fucking...
Yo, Angmar WK, $2.99 super stickers, throwing up the horns. Rock on, shout. Also, thank you for the gift of game earlier, man. Truly appreciate it.
actually a good person, all right? If ladies, I'm sorry, but if you've got real long flaps, that's a choking hazard and that's disgusting, okay? So she's going to take it around all of New York City, beautiful part of the world, and hopefully it doesn't get stolen by a scammer on the street. Because New York is a fucking shithole, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've been there. It's horrific. I love New York. Like, it's a cool place. It's nice, and I like the people, just not the homeless. So she's obviously had it cut off. A lot of women get it trimmed up.
Wait, they do? Women get it trimmed. Wait. Okay. What does he mean trimmed up? You mean like you weed whack? You mow the lawn? Is that what if that's what he means? Yeah, fair enough. You know, we all love a good fucking landing strip, right? But all 2 women that ever watch me, I'm gonna need you to explain what he means.
Like, if you get a brisket and you're going to put it in the smoker, you got to trim off the fat because you don't want too much fat, but you want enough fat. And I think it's good that labias are being trimmed all over the world. It's like trimming your beard. It gets out of fucking control, mate. It's dipping in your food, exactly like a labia. Dipping in your food, it's too, it takes forever to dry it when you get out of the shower. You don't want a long labia. They're fucking gross. They're no good. In fact, I think that's up there with your carbon footprint. You got to reduce that shit. If your labia footprint is too big, then I don't know, maybe you should be sent out to the desert. You can use that fucking labia as a bit of shelter for some camels or something.
Labia footprint brings a whole new meaning to pussyfooting around. I'm just saying.
You gross bitch. Ladies and gents, before we go any further, dump this brown powder in your coffee and become 27% harder to kill. This is Black Forest high flavanol cocoa powder. And here's
I don't
why
drink
it's
coffee,
insane.
so.
A study with 21,000 people showed that this might reduce a heart attack by 27%. That is absolutely crazy. Cocoa flavonoids actually keep your arteries nice and flexible, which is fantastic for your health. Now, regular chocolate, during the processing, it loses all of these flavonoids, and that's why it's important to supplement. It's the difference between putting water in your gas tank and high-octane fuel in there. It's not candy, it's performance fuel. Every scoop delivers the same active compounds Harvard researchers linked to cardiovascular support, better blood flow, and even sharper focus. It helps keep your arteries nice and flexible. I've been putting it in my coffee.
You can say coffee is good for you, maybe it is. The rare times I drink it, I just drink it straight black. But I'm a tea guy, not a coffee guy. It hits you
differently than just a regular cup of coffee. And ladies and gentlemen, Black Forest are the people to turn to when you want to turn your body into a machine. So head down to the link down below or the pinned comment and make sure you grab the deal while it lasts, ladies and gentlemen. Try the high flavanol cocoa right now with a buy one and get one free.
I don't like the word flavanol after we just spent the first 5 minutes of this video talking about labia. I don't know why. It doesn't hit right.
Deal for 48 hours only. That is fantastic. And now, ladies and gentlemen, back to the video.
When my cat Charlie died, we cremated her and I put her inside of this baby's body.
That's a... Well, guys, I'm just gonna hit play.
And I really love this baby. This baby, so beautiful. But it's a boy, and Charlie is a girl.
Wait. First of all, that's way too realistic, guys. That's way too fucking realistic, a baby doll, right? Looks too real. Don't like it. Uncanny Valley. The baby doll's a boy. The cat was a girl. We already know where this is going.
So I'm gonna transfer Charlie into my new baby.
What the?
Why do you have 2? Where are you buying this? Put this motherfucker on a list. This is weird.
Oh, fuck.
That I got yesterday.
Okay, the baby's head's off. These babies, you may see people walking around with these babies, and I don't...
Couldn't even afford... all right, guys. I'm not trying to be morbid here. I'm not trying to be morbid, but, got Hondo. I got Hondo, a nice wooden. It's got these, nice inlays. Got a nice plaque on there. Because I fucking loved Hondo. He was my best friend. R.I.P. Hondo emoji in the chat. Well, are you such a cheap piece of shit that you'd rather buy a baby doll coffin than an actual proper resting place? The tag looks like something that would be on whatever you buy at the fucking Goodwill. Bro, that's a D&D dice bag you've got your cat's ashes in.
I don't know what I feel about them. They're called reborn dolls, I think. And sometimes people will get one after they give birth to a baby who's passed, a stillborn, or a baby that's sleeping. An event that I could not even imagine how horrific that is. Now, if this does help some of those people grieve that process, beautiful. But if it's your fucking cat, Jesus Christ, mate, cat.
To be fair, I would rather this broad have a cat than an actual baby. To be fair, this is a woke leftist. They probably would have just aborted the baby.
Cats, all right? They're evil creatures. They don't give a shit. If you died, they'd piss on your fucking ashes, put them in your litter box, have a shit on them later, and then fucking throw it in the bin. They don't give...
And that's why cats are better than dogs. That's right, because cats are the goddamn gangsters of the animal kingdom. Cat don't give a fuck. Dog, man, you gone, you at work all day, then you get home, and the dog's just so happy to see you. Dog don't even know how to have other emotions, dude. A cat got personality, man. A cat will tell you to go fuck yourself, and I respect that.
Give a shit about. You don't care if you live or die. As long as you keep feeding them tuna and native birds, they'll be sweet. Okay, now let's just calm down and let's figure out why the baby's head's off.
So I got the head off. This little bag right here, that's Charlie. I got Charlie out. This is Charlie. So now that Charlie's
Charlie.
out, this is no longer Charlie. This is now just Owen, which is the kitten.
I hope he doesn't get through.
It's a fucking dog. Why are you... You don't even have a baby. If the cat's not in there, why does removing the cat give it a different name? Also, why Owen? It's a gay name, Owen.
Thrown at the wall here. Why does he look like he's... Oh my God, it looks like you're choke slamming the baby. Why did Owen... Go back to Owen. Why did it look like he had a cold?
Now, I just got off this baby head, so I'm going to put Charlie in here. Charlie is in here now. Look at her little feet. Look at that.
They're a bit too realistic.
Here's the new Charlie.
And people...
This is mental illness to a level like... okay. Let's take this back to that last video, right? Let's take this back to that last video. You know, Sargon was all like, the problem isn't the left, it's the woke part. I don't know what is worse about this woman. The woke, the left. Frankly, I don't think none of that matters. Just fucking bring back the asylums.
People say we don't have a mental health problem. Really? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we...
Oh, look at this fat fuck. Look at this fat waste of human life. Look, bro, all those trees around this fucking loser. Imagine all the oxygen they are putting out there for us normal, rational, productive humans. Just for all these trees' efforts to be fucking wasted on this fat fuck.
Have a winner. the wokest person. Are you ready? This account stands for Abolish ICE. ACAB, which stands for All Cops Are Bastards, Free Palestine, Protect Trans People, Land Back, Black Lives Matter, End Genocide, Fat Liberation, Fuck Trump, Housing is a Human Right, and Mutual Aid is Everything.
Wow, he is wrong about... Again, I don't want to actually give this dude the dignity of being a man. This creature is wrong about literally every single opinion here. Everyone, not one single thing is he correct about. Abolish ICE? Yeah, no, ICE is actually fucking based and awesome. Keep them around. In fact, give them raises. All cops are bastards. Look, y'all know I ain't a fucking fan of the police, right? I ain't a fan of dogs of the state, being an anarchist and all that. That being said, I'm an individualist at the end of the day. So there's no way that all cops could be anything. Free Palestine? Nah, don't give a fuck. Let them blow each other up. I don't give a shit. Protect trans people? God, no. First of all, the trans people thing, 42% rule, that's a problem that solves itself. Land back? Fuck, I ain't giving up shit. My people conquer your people, bitch. Black Lives Matter. I mean, do they though? Some do. Some don't. And genocide. Fuck that, dude. Genocide's based. Genocide's awesome as shit. Fat liberation. I mean, we will liberate you into the pine box when your heart gives out at 26. Fuck Trump. I mean, you're probably gay. Maybe you wanna. Is he your type? Housing is human right. No, it's not. No, not even close. Mutual aid is everything. What the fuck does that one even mean? Like, that's just a collection of words together that makes some vague semblance of a sentence. I don't even know what that one means. Shout out to BCL for a 2-banger. Bark like a dog from a Leon. I'm almost there. There you go, buddy. There you go.
Wow. That is unbelievable. What a virtuous person. And let me guess, you're doing fucking nothing to achieve any of those. Ah, yeah. Okay, so who have we got? We've got...
Oh my god, it looks like it would have won a Grammy in 2022, but worn a mask to the fucking virtual Grammys. And non-binary trans fag lover boy. He uses the word that they hate, the thing is the most offensive. It's so offensive, he even uses the fucking @ symbol to hide it. And also can't spell lover boy correctly. Also, if you're non-binary, how are you a boy? Because non-binary means that there's a spectrum. The gender isn't binary. There's no gender, right? So how you got boy in there? Every single thing about this is wrong. New York City artist. Okay, so you're broke. Gotcha. Hand poke tattooer. I would. Nobody ever get a tattoo from this motherfucker. You will get AIDS. Tattoo booking forms and shop links below. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. How does this eldritch beast have nearly 25,000 followers? What are we doing?
Soft Prince, gay. Grace. Okay, I promise me saying Gayson wasn't deliberate. Grayson Ezekiel, they/them, non-binary, trans, F-word, ivory boy, New York artist.
Wait. Ivory boy? Is that what that means? Is that... No, that's a lowercase L. Everything else is lowercase, so why would that be an uppercase I? No, it's lover boy. Or if it is ivory boy, the fuck does that mean? Anyone in chat, what the fuck is an ivory boy? That's gotta be lover boy. He's gotta be wrong, right?
Hand poker tattoo. Okay. Oh, and here they are. This is the person.
Oh, no.
Telling cops they're butt.
Forward.
This is the fuck.
No. You know, we still have a video. We still have a video later called "This Sonic Fan Game That Shouldn't Exist." Somehow I'm worried that will be worse, knowing the fucking Sonic fandom. I'm broken, guys.
You to the moon.
I happen to believe that there are actual superheroes in real life who walk
Who
among
is this?
us. And these superheroes are called trans people. Because just like superheroes,
The Trans Avengers. I imagine they all just look like the Hulk.
trans people
That was good. That was good.
are born with something special and magical about them, and they often have to hide what's special
What?
and magical about
Like
them. from other
not
people.
talking shit to
The sad part is, Alan Cummins, whatever his fucking last, he's a really fucking good actor. Like, the dude who's saying all this ridiculous, dumb shit is a really good actor. And it sucks to, like, I want to separate the art from the artist and whatnot, because I like a lot of his work. But holy fuck, is this possibly the most retarded thing I've ever heard him say? And I heard his dialogue in Spy Kids 3.
trans people, but if you're a trans person watching this, do you genuinely believe that you were born magical and special? If you do, here's a handy hint. Grow the fuck up.
And stop wearing your pride flag as a cape. It's weird.
Superheroes, they grow up in a society that doesn't understand them, that makes them the other and often hates them.
Hey, and I feel
Often hits... What? Society doesn't hit the superheroes. The fucking villains do. What are you talking about? Are you comparing all of society to, like, fucking Lex Luthor?
like if you are trans, you should live your life like that. I'm not saying you should hide anything.
Like superheroes, trans people just want the world to be a safer place, and they believe we should...
No! They want the world to be a safer place for them, because they're selfish. By the way, the world's not an unsafe place for them, mind you. But if they're like any sort of superhero, they're more like superheroes from The Boys. Trying to look all good and shit on the outset while being absolute fucking monster degenerates behind closed doors. Or at least what used to be closed doors, now just openly out in the public.
to protect each other and live our lives in peace.
Is that a man? Is that a woman? No, it's super trans. With amazing skills like jumping atop a building just in reverse. Lopping up...
Holy shit! I wasn't expecting that. One sec, guys. He broke me. It's gonna take me a sec to recover from that. One sec. Yeah, I saw your comment, Digital Alucard. Thank you. That actually hurt. Holy shit. That was so fucking funny. I almost died on stream. Y'all would have seen me in one of those fucking, like, streamers that died while live icebergs or whatever that you watch at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. Oh my god, that was insane. Alright, let's keep going.
Their penis in a single bound, reversing time back to when they were a child so they could have puberty blockers, and of course,
I'm literally afraid to hit my vape now.
laser vision so they can burn off all of the back hair that those beautiful ladies have.
Like superheroes, evil billionaires want to get rid of trans people for no f***ing reason whatsoever.
I'm trying to be a billionaire, and that's why you should buy Better Man. It is now currently in the bargain bin for Black Friday, 60% off. This is my book, and it is a guide for young dudes in the first 30 years of their life. It's helpful for everybody, I think, but it gives you a guide to everything that you will encounter in those first 30 years, from having relationships to who you should marry.
Oh, shit. I can't. This book ain't for me then. If it's in your first 30 years, I'm past it. You need to expand your target audience, man. Like, how are you going to sell your book to me if I'm past the 30-year point?
And here's a hint. Marry your best friend. That's what the chapter is called. Someone who you can spend every single day with. Old, young, attractive, ugly. As long as they're your best friend, it doesn't matter how gross they...
No. Like, in theory, again, he's right. You know, marry your best friend, all that shit. Want to know the true trick? Don't have an ugly best friend, ugly female best friend, right? Don't make friends with uggos. It's gross. Or, if you're truly a good friend, you'll teach them how to not be ugly. You'll teach them, hey, maybe watch some makeup tutorial videos. Maybe lose some fucking weight. Shit like that.
They get when they turn 90 years old, you'll still love them. That book is full of handy tips like that, how not to be a dickhead, and you can get it at isaacbutterfield.com right now for 60% off. That's right, 60% off. Now, I imagine these people are talking shit about Elon.
I need to step away for just a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we back. Thank you, crew. Sorry about that. Yeah, you guys got a chair of paradise. Alright, let's keep going.
On Musk here and how he's trying to harm trans people. Anyone who doesn't like, and I want you to remember this, anyone who doesn't like Elon Musk, like you can not like him and find him annoying and stuff, but if you don't like him as a person, you think he's evil, you've never actually listened to anything he's ever said in his entire life. There you go.
I'm free bleeding in the grass right now.
Remember how you were saying earlier, marry your best friend? Never let a woman like this be your best friend. Right? Oh, I get it. You know, she's slightly, you know, she's above average in terms of like her attractiveness, or at least like from this blurry footage, she seems like she probably is. Doesn't matter. Don't make friends with people like this. This is fucking weird. Like, this is the equivalent of being friends with a furry. You wouldn't be friends with a furry, would you?
And it's occurred to me that a large collective of women are bleeding right now, and whatever this cycle is, whatever we're moving in our blood
free bleeding
together.
in the grass is where you menstruate straight out of your fanny hole, or your cum hole, as I call it, onto the grass for no fucking reason.
Feels like one of the most potent bleeds, and I sense more women are synced up now more than ever, so drop a rose.
I sense more women are synced up now more than... What the fuck does that even mean? There's like 4.5 billion of you motherfuckers on the planet. If y'all were synced up right now, dude, we would be drowning in oceans of woman juice. No!
Are bleeding too, and a reminder that your blood is not an inconvenience. It's actually one of the most magical gifts in the entire world.
I wish I was...
You know, I was gonna ask the women in the chat that's true, but I don't want to know.
Bleeding out my fucking ears. Yeah, listen, the reason that a lot of women are bleeding at the exact same time on planet Earth is, well, there's a lot of women and there's only a few weeks in every month. So that just makes sense that people would sync up. Yeah, it's just your fucking uterine wall shedding. Chill out. You're not syncing up with the universe. You're not hanging out with 3i Atlas. You're just bleeding, bitch. Shut up. And by the way,
women always want to be like equal to men and whatnot, right? Like, oh, we want to be equal rights. We want the same rights as a gun, yada, yada, yada. All right, by all means, I'll give you that equality. You're just bleeding. Shut the fuck up. Because that's what a dude would tell another dude. Oh, you got punched in the face, now your nose is bleeding? Suck it up. Just pop that bitch back into place. You'll be fine, bucko. Come on, we got some fucking boxes to move to the truck. Like, yeah, you're bleeding. Shut the fuck up. You want the equality? That's the equality.
wait, free bleeding? Gross. You're bleeding. You should stop yourself bleeding. How hard is that to understand? You're not changing the world. Like, Trump isn't sitting in the...
No, ironically enough, you would be changing the world if you weren't bleeding, because if you're not bleeding, it means you're pregnant. Or you're on birth control and it's fucked up your cycle, but that's neither here nor there. In an ideal world, if you weren't bleeding, you'd be changing the world because your fucking dumbass would be home and pregnant. But then again, I don't want women that think that free bleeding is a positive thing to be mothers, so maybe this is for the best.
Oval Office right now, getting a metallic taste in the back of his mouth because all the women are bleeding into the earth, and he goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to stop being evil. Because he's evil, apparently. I'm going to stop doing all these mean things to Rosie O'Donnell. It's not changing the world. You're doing fuck all. You just...
I will. First of all, if I see you doing this, I will say even more mean things to Rosie O'Donnell. Now, to be fair, I'll never stop saying mean things to Rosie O'Donnell. So, that's kind of a neither here nor there sort of thing.
Bleeding in your grass. If you want blood and bone, get some from the fucking hardware store.
What pronouns do you make? Viva. Amazing. Thank you.
Why does this look like a gay Brent Spiner? Wait, is Brent Spiner actually gay? Hold on, I'm not sure. I gotta figure that out first. Is Brent Spiner gay? Okay, just making sure. Alright, so yeah, why does this look like a gay Brent Spiner?
You want blood and bone, get some from the fucking hardware store.
What pronouns do you make? Viva. Amazing.
Are we cooked? Are we cooked? I think we're cooked.
Thank you.
They, them? You look like everyone's single uncle. How can you be a they, them?
What do you want to do?
So I don't know, which
Great.
is
I'm
part
going
of
to
it.
watch him get a haircut? No. Nor are you. By the way,
I love people that make me feel confident in my facial hair. Because I'm looking at this Australian Chad right now. I'm like, dude, fuck. I hate that I'm part Native American. Because I can't grow facial hair for shit, bro. Like, this is the best it gets. But then I look at this dude.
Which
Great.
is
I'm
part
going
of
to watch
it.
him get a haircut?
Look at that. Look at the fucking monstrosity. Dude, no, grow your hair out even more and do what I do. Use it to cover up the patchiness. Like, this makes me feel so fucking secure in my minimal facial hair. Thank you for existing, Mr. They, Them.
No. Nor are you. By the way, these have all been sent to me by people. Who the fuck found this?
Why is it important to come to London transcribe?
Dude, it looks like
I'm going to watch him get a haircut?
hold on.
No. Nor are you. By the way, these have all been sent to me by people. Who the fuck found this?
Why is it
That is Aunt Fester. Like from the fucking Addams family? That is Auntie Fester. How do you make the emo boy with the fucking Playboy tattoo in the bro tank who looks like he never got out of 2006, how do you make him look masculine? I say that as somebody who still dresses like that in fucking 2025, but that's neither here nor there. What's worse, his lack of facial hair or the other guy's fucked up uneven facial hair? Also, where are his pupils? Looks like dude was possessed by a demon in season 2 of Supernatural. What are we doing here?
important to come to London transcribe?
What is that?
I mean, it's
It's the Pillsbury Dough's it. Like, that's what it is.
really important to come this year's London Trans Pride more than ever because of the recent UK Supreme Court
Oh
ruling.
my God. Here's proof.
I'm just gonna hit play. I'm so broken right now.
That I'm not sexist. If a woman was wearing that, I would say that's a fucking gross outfit, babe. Now,
Now, to be fair, if a woman that looked like, again, Auntie Fester was wearing that, it would look gross. On a nice, attractive, fit woman, this would be a great outfit. I would love to see this. However, now after seeing this on a dude, what the fuck? Dude, you could fly a fucking plane between the gap in his teeth. Anyway, after seeing this on a dude, I don't think even a hot broad could ever make this work. Like, this dress has now been ruined for women everywhere because of Auntie Fester.
imagine this guy's got some sort of dude somewhere around him. That's gross for a dude to wear. Now, what we need to really work on here is what the fuck is this? If you are trans, please have a go. I don't know if that makes sense to everyone because I know it's a Australian expression. Have a go, mate. But just
Yeah, what the fuck does have a go mean? I know I got a decently large Australian audience. What the fuck does have a go mean?
have a fucking go. Like, give it a shot. Give it your all. Go watch Coach
okay.
Carter.
So it does mean the same thing it means here. Okay, that's not Australian slang, homie. We say that in America here. I imagine that they say in the UK as well. You made it sound like it was some sort of like exclusively Australian shit.
Go and watch the fucking Green Mile. Get fired up. Get excited. Get motivated. Go and watch Al Pacino.
I kind of wish what would happen to Auntie Fester is the same thing that happens to Michael Hart Duncan at the end of the Green Mile.
While you're getting dressed as a woman, and he might fucking motivate you to throw a wig on, or at least the end of a mop, something to look slightly female and not whatever the fuck you are. In saying that, if you want to look like that, fine. But people are going to make fun of you.
We're Filer Fitness, the first online fitness coaches to specialize in helping anxious lesbians lose weight by...
Aren't all lesbians anxious lesbians? Like, I don't know since I'm not a lesbian, but if I was a lesbian, I imagine I would be anxious all the time Because any relationship I get in, I just be worried I'd get hit at any given moment. Statistics don't lie, folks. Lesbians kind of like to beat the shit out of each other. And if that's happening to you on like an 86% basis, I'd be pretty fucking anxious as well. So to be fair, I imagine they have a very large clientele.
By working on their nervous system first.
Anxious.
Hold on. So, anxious lesbians, and they work on the nervous system. That's gotta be intentional, bro. That's gotta be intentional. There's no way they unironically focus on the nervous system if it's for anxious lesbians. That's too easy. That fruit is too low-hanging.
Lesbians. That sounds like a great porno, by the way. What makes a lesbian anxious? Is it like...
I just told you. They're worried they're about to get their shit kicked in because, like, they left the pantry open.
Walking past the fish department in a grocery store, she starts getting anxious and thinking about a beautiful butch girlfriend at home. Oh, isn't she gorgeous? Isn't it funny how they end up dating women that look like fat guys?
Which one of these two do you think is gonna haul off and fuck up the other one? Because, like, I know that instinctively you would think the one on the left, right? The one on the left, because the one on the left is obviously the dude in the relationship, okay? The one on the left, obviously the fucking power top. But, to that I say, the one on the right looks like the type of gal that gets drunk at a party, breaks a fucking beer bottle and puts it to your neck, then calls the cop and says you hit her. Yes, that is a very specific example, and I'm speaking from experience. Don't talk to me about it. I actually think the one on the right is the one more likely to commit the domestic abuse. Yeah, see? Dorman said it's going to be the one on the right. Exactly. It's instinctively you want to think the one on the left looks like a dude, looks stronger, a little bit bigger. The one on the right, that's the sleeper hit. That is the actual abusive lesbo.
Allegedly. No, all jokes. Yeah, okay. I've seen a lot of these videos where they go, hey, listen, we prioritize and we specialize in training lesbians. You don't need someone to specialize in training whatever sexuality you have. That's ridiculous. If you're gay, or if you're straight, or you're bi, or you're lesbian, whatever, you can just train like a normal human being. Like, your sexuality doesn't come into it unless you're trying to work out how to eat box like faster and quicker and with more power.
A whole new meaning to boxing.
Than anyone else, then okay, like box squats take a whole new meaning at that point. But here, I'll give them, credit where credit's due. They're talking about working on their nervous system and their mental health disorder, this being anxiety or eating disorders or whatever. So, okay.
An eating disorder for 10 years and anxiety for 4 years. I know what it's like to feel broken and out of control in your own body.
So, the lesbian with anxiety, probably because she's been hit a lot by other females, knows what it's like to feel broken. I imagine she means that in a more physical sense.
Specifically with lesbians who are tired of fighting their anxiety and their body.
Yeah, just their anxiety, because they don't ever get tired of fighting.
At the same time. Our clients are smart, who feel like they have their lives together, except for this one area that feels completely out of control. Through our 3R method, we regulate your nervous system first.
Their innate ability to look like teenage boys.
All right, hold on. I gotta know. Hold on. Gym that focuses on lesbians with anxiety. Well, there are no gyms specifically for lesbians with anxiety. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. What was the name of this one, right? What was the name of it? It's on this broad shirt. What does it say? Filer Fitness. All right, hold on. Filer Fitness. We can do some... What the... This is already a horribly laid out website. Definitely a woman. Definitely made by a woman. What are people saying? I don't give a fuck what people are saying. Okay. You are not the woman from the fucking ad. Just saying. Okay. Oh, hey there. My name is Jamie, and I'm going to be the best thing to happen to you emotionally and physically. I've been a trainer for over 10 years, beginning when I first got certified at 18 years old. Coaching others, be it in sport or in the gym, has always been my passion, and I'm grateful to be able to put into a career where I can impact people daily. My goal is to get you the only... Wait, is this the right... Personal training? I want to provide you customized training? No, I want to know about the lesbians. Oh. The silver plan is a low monthly investment of $147. But the platinum plan... Low monthly investment of $347. Is this the same? Is this the same one? Hold on. I'm not seeing anything here about lesbians. What people are saying, I don't think this is the same one. Hold on, we're gonna... No, Jamie Filer Fitness, yeah? Yeah, this is the same one. Why doesn't your website say anything about lesbians? Also, why don't you have a fucking search function on your website? Why do you have let's talk here twice? Let's talk here, let's talk here? Because bitches love to talk. Wait, okay, what are people saying? We already clicked that. Regular training 2.0 funnel. Regular training 2.0 funnel. Wait, is this just... Home? Who the fuck made your website? This is a nightmare. I'm just trying to find out about the lesbians. Testimonials. Ooh, you look disgusting. You look disgusting. Actually, you don't look bad. Okay, I guess. Clearly, you don't just train lesbians. This is a dude. Also, you didn't do a very good job. This is all right. Like, props to him for losing the weight and whatnot. But you didn't do that great of a job. He's still a fat fuck. What are we doing here? Where's the lesbos? Hold on. Let's check the Instagram. Right? Let's check the Instagram. Profile isn't available? What? What do you mean profile isn't available? How am I going to learn about the lesbians if your profile isn't available? Okay, here we go. Fat loss coach to 500 pounds plus LGBTQ clients reclaiming their confidence. All right, Linktree. Get it. Fuck out of here. All right, 3-hour coaching method, free ultimate fat loss, join Facebook morning. And no, I don't care about any of this. I don't care about any of this. You're retarded. Let's go back to the Instagram. 130,000 followers. There can't be that many anxious lesbians. Oh, pronouns in the bio. Well, they're still in business apparently. That's what I was curious about.
Who are tired of fighting their anxiety and their body at the same time. Our clients are smart, who feel like they have their lives together, except for this one area that feels completely out of control. Through our 3R method, we regulate your nervous system.
Jimmy Neutron or fucking Cartman from South Park. Reminder, being punk means caring for your community, which means wearing a mask. It's 2025. That you can tell. You can just tell that someone has issues, okay? If they are wearing a mask in public. You just know. There's no other questions.
Thankfully, I live in the Midwest where people, by and large, don't fucking suck. I can't remember the last time I saw someone wearing a mask in public. I'm pretty sure when I went to the city, not this most recent time, but the time before that, I did see some fucking retards wearing a mask in public, but like the big city full of fucking loons.
You don't need any other answers. You know if you see someone wearing a mask in public that they are fucked. Just fucked. Royally, entirely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And a very big thank you to everybody who was a part of this video. Thank you very much for continually watching these videos. I appreciate you. If you're new here, press subscribe. There's 3 new videos every single week. And I'll see you in the next one. Toodaloo, au revoir. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was, I'll link the video, but that was painful, guys. Y'all put it in the Discord. You wanted me to react to it. That was a lot. You know, I consider myself a pretty white-pilled person. You know, I think things are going to get better. I think that we're on the road to healing. I think that we are on the mend as a society. But then I see shit like this, and I just, like, I need to take a nap. I need to, like, mentally and emotionally recover, because it reminds me that these people are real. And I hate it. And I'm worried that this will be worse. I'm worried that this will be worse. The Sonic fan game that shouldn't exist.
Now, the Sonic franchise has had one of the biggest and most chaotic fan bases on the...
See? Look at this thing. Look, hold on. Look at this thing. Guys, I know, I'm a Sonic fan. I'm a Sonic fan that hates other Sonic fans. This is weird. This is weird. Why are Sonic fans like this? Why can't we just be fucking normal? I'm so nervous about what we're about to see.
Entire internet. And from my personal experience, every time something comes out of the Sonic community, it's
like, hold on. Look at this animation. This animation's fucking awesome. This is cool. How do these fucking freaks take something like this, which is awesome, and turn it into, like, DeviantArt blow-up fetishes?
Personal experience, every time something comes out of the Sonic community, it's either amazing or unbelievably shit. And let's be real, it's usually...
Who would draw this? You've got Chris knocking up Rouge with a fucking half-human, half-bat baby, even though Chris is like 12, and I get he's a cartoon, it's not real, so it's not like, it's just weird, with Batman watching while the Twin Towers are crumbling in the background. Like, Sonic wasn't a mistake, but Sonic fans were, right? How do you come up with this stuff? I cannot imagine being this mentally deranged. Like, I draw. I'm not very good at it, but I like to do art now and again. I used to love drawing. You know, when I grew up, I drew all the fucking time. You know, even attempted to make my own comic book back when I was in high school. I have never even like conceived of such a depraved... But Sonic fans do it all the time!
Usually option 2. I know that every fanbase has its weird side, and that isn't exclusive to a single franchise.
No, but it's worse than any other with Sonic, with the exception of maybe My Little Pony, which you don't screen... Actually, Sonic was the progenitor. But then you got things like My Little Pony. And now we're up to, like, this sort of weird fetishistic shit just being the norm. Because you've got shit like Has Been Hotel just out there on Maine.
I myself have made a lot of videos talking about disturbing and bizarre fan media made by different fan bases. However, it's undeniable that out of all the fan bases that exist, the Sonic one is the one that has the most of these bizarre pieces for people to cover. The franchise of our beloved Blue Barefoot Hedgehog always...
Even this is weird. This is one of the most benign. This is one of the most benign, and even this is weird. Like, you know they did this for fetishistic purposes. They drew Sonic without his shoes so they could see his big feet. And no, Pokemon isn't worse. Pokemon honestly is, I promise you, because I've seen both. The Sonic fandom is exponentially worse. How do I know the Sonic fandom is exponentially worse? Well... You know what? I was gonna use Chris Chan as the example, but he's also a Pokemon fan. So you might be onto something. Sonic isn't human either. I have seen, not by my choice, mind you, far more degenerate, fucked up shit from Sonic fans than from Pokemon fans.
always seems to be the main target of the most disgusting and bizarre creations out there. 2 babies, 1 fox, a dog shit creepypasta, the fan art of Sonic and Shadow as a f***ing toilet. I could keep
What the fuck was that?
shit creepypasta, the fan art of Sonic and Shadow as a f***ing toilet.
Oh, shut up. It's not like this. It's a wait, it's not like this is a highlight from you guys.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't know how they do it. How do you take just like a fucking anthropomorphic animal that go fast and turn him into a toilet? What is wrong with these people?
Toilet, I could keep listing all these degenerate creations this fandom has released, but I don't have the time or the mental health to put myself through that again. Until I remember that I'm literally a disturbing content slop channel, and that's what I get paid for. So today I want to talk about a Sonic fan game that I unfortunately had
Babysitting Cream. I just want y'all to know, everybody in chat right now, first of all, Grifter Guy Grift, if I'm about to be subjected to this, homie gotta get that bag, right? Super chats are available. But also, if you're looking for who to blame for this, Piranha Pout posted this in the Discord for me to react to. You can blame her.
The displeasure of discovering a few days ago. The game is called Babysitting Cream, and to sum it up, this is a cub or fan game. And in case you don't know, cubs are basically lollies for furries. In this game, the player takes the role of Sonic. Well, not the actual Sonic, but more like an EVP 445 version of him.
EDP 445 references, Joe, bro. They're the gift that keeps on giving.
Who gets asked by Vanilla the Rabbit to babysit her daughter Cream, who is 9 years old, for a few days while she's out doing, whatever the fuck she's doing. During these days...
Also, these are so off-model. I know it's a weird thing to complain about, but, like, when the Sonic characters are off-model, it fucking bothers me. These aren't what the characters look like. It's a weird complaint, but I don't like it.
The player does what appear to be innocent activities with Cream, like playing games or...
War Wizard 7-8 for a 2-banger. Maybe we stop listening to Piranha Pout now? Please? I gotta give the audience what they want. Also, this will make some pretty great content for the gaming channel, I ain't gonna lie. This is definitely getting clipped into a segment for the gaming channel. But thanks for the 2-banger.
Giving her food.
People, please, follow in War Wizard's footsteps. I need it.
All of which build up her trust until you eventually unlock some extremely nasty interactions.
Wait, you build up her trust. This is, like, grooming the game. And it's... Why? What? Fucking... I know I take the stance, which is a relatively unpopular stance, that, hey, it's drawings, therefore it's not real. Like, I've got a pretty libertarian view on this sort of shit, right? I take the Madame Savvy approach. It's a drawing, it's not real, therefore, you know, it can't be, you know, whatever. That being said, the people that are creating this sort of stuff, bro, they need to be fucking monitored. This ain't okay. You made a grooming simulator using Sonic the Hedgehog characters. This is fucked up.
Interactions you can do with her. The first version of this game was uploaded almost 15 years ago on Ink.
What? 15 years ago? Wait, so we're talking in fucking 2010? Guys, I don't want to hear that Sonic 06 was the worst thing that ever happened to Sonic anymore. Alright, Chris Chan be out there fucking raping his mom, and this game exists. A Final Fantasy-ass looking character just kissing Sonic, bringing him back to life, ain't really that big a fucking deal anymore.
Bunny, which is basically a website that exists so furries can show and share their questionable NSFW artwork. The team behind
Dropped out living for 9 months, first vabbing, and now this. Leon's never gonna listen to me. You're entirely correct. I'm learning way too much about things that I do not want to learn about.
This masterpiece of
And okay, Tiger King is correct. Sonic Boom might be worse than this. Yeah, that's true.
Game consisted of just 2 people, Avalon X, the art designer, and Avion, the programmer. The furry gooners of the website immediately saw amazing potential in the game. The post that contained this first version of Babysitting Cream gathered hundreds of thousands of views, and users on the website were already extremely excited about the project. But did the creators deliver though? That's what we are about to find out. As soon as you open the game, you are immediately greeted with Tails giving us a—
Why is he not wearing gloves? Guys, when you draw your Sonic characters, give them gloves. They don't look right. Again, it's far from the biggest issue with this game, mind you. This is a game where you're literally grooming a 9-year-old rabbit girl. Like, obviously that's the bigger issue. But, like, just from an art direction perspective, don't fucking draw your Sonic characters without their gloves. It looks fucking weird.
warning stating that you could go to jail if you try to do anything from this game in real life. Wow, really, Tails? I had no fucking idea. Tails also states that this game is a work done under—
They're also obviously not real Sonic fans. You want to know how I know that? Because this disclaimer, this anti-pedo disclaimer is being said by Tails, when anyone who actually knows their Sonic lore would have had Sonic do it, because back in the 90s, we had the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog show where there's PSAs at the end of every episode called Sonic Says. And he would teach, like, it's literally one of the most famous ones is, hold on, let's see if I can find it. We'll just head on over to YouTube real quick. Sonic Says, here we go. If someone touches you. All right, right here.
Kids, there's nothing more cool than being hugged by someone you like. But if someone tries to touch you in a place or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's no good. It's your body. No one has the right to touch you if you don't want them to. So what do? First, you say no. Then you suplex him, put him in the camera.
Anyway, y'all get the point. Right? So, Sonic Says, if you knew your Sonic lore and you wanted to make this game somewhat, accurate and relevant and whatnot, you would have used Sonic for this disclaimer. So they're also not even a true blue Sonic fan. Blue. Didn't mean to do that, but anyway.
under the clause of being a parody and a work of fiction. So I guess the creators are trying to label the game as a joke and something not serious so that they don't get in legal trouble. Well, I don't know about you, but when I think of a joke, I don't exactly think about making a furry porn fan game of Sonic. But that is just me though.
No, and to be fair, that could be a joke. Like, here's the dealio, this could be a joke, but it has to be presented as a joke, i.e. that it would be making fun of these individuals. Like, let's say you built this game, right? You built this game, and it's a joke on these fucking pedo Sonic fans or whatever, that you play through it, you're grooming Cream, and then when you get to the end, it's actually, it turns out that she was one of those, like, undercover cops, and she was actually, like, 21 years old, and you have, like, Dr. Robotnik come in and do, like, this Chris Hansen thing, and Sonic gets thrown in jail at the end, right? And you get all these fucking Sonic gooners all pissed off because they couldn't actually bang the 9-year-old rabbit and shit. Like, that would be a joke. That would be funny, because the joke is on these freaks. But this isn't a joke.
Oh, I guess the creators of the game just have such an advanced level of humor that no normie like you and me would be able to comprehend. Skipping the warning that Tales gives us, we are finally introduced to the game, which consists of a very basic point-and-click setup. You select the places of the house you want to go, and there you can call Cream to perform activities in that specific place. A thing you probably noticed is that even though the characters of the game were hand-drawn, the background of the places consist of real-life photos, which make the characters look completely out of place. Speaking of the characters, their design are just so weird.
Oh my god, he's actually gonna critique the same thing I did, them being off-model. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that thinks it's awful when these characters are off-model.
I don't know if it's just me, but Sonic
No,
with a
it's not just you.
realistically proportionate body just looks uncanny as fuck. Okay, enough about me bitching about how the game looks. What about the gameplay? Once you summon Cream, the player can...
We have lost about 10 viewers since we started watching this fucking video. That is fucking funny to me. No, if you guys are running away because you're scared of this, you are cowards. You need to know that these people exist. You need to know the warning signs. You need to know what to watch out for. You need to be prepared, okay? You need to be prepared. Like, this is educational. Like, you can't just hide from shit that you don't like. These people are out there. This is fucking educational. This is my Sonic Says. This is Leon Learns.
Then choose an action. Obviously, different actions lead to different outcomes. These actions serve for Sonic to build relationship stats with Cream, which can be accessed in Sonic's journal. We have energy, which is used to perform actions, ranks, which is your money, happiness, how happy Cream is, touch, how comfortable Cream is with Sonic touching her, number of off, which is pretty self-explanatory, peeping, how well Sonic can spy on Cream without her noticing,
I hope there's a happy ending to this, that, like, the person that made this was found by the FBI and thrown in jail. And if not, look, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, I know I've been pretty harsh on the Trump administration as of late. I know I've been pretty harsh on the Trump administration due to your failure with the Epstein files and whatnot. If you want to redeem yourselves, you will find out who made this monstrosity. You will haul them off to, like, Alcatraz or fucking Guantanamo Bay or whatever, and all will be forgiven, right? Like, here's the dealio. I don't even need the global pedophile ring exposed. If instead we can switch it to exposing the Mobian pedophile ring. All the Sonic fans that create shit like this, I will let the Epstein shit slide if you start focusing on these cretins.
Exposure, which is how comfortable Cream is with seeing Sonic naked, and relationship with Cream, which is the overall trust level that Cream has with Sonic. The way you increase these stats in the game is very, very, very unethical, to say the least. For example, to build up the peeping stat, you can make Sonic spy on Cream while she's taking a shower, or even take a look at her pants while she's falling asleep. And the worst part is that these disgusting actions actually reward you. Choosing the right actions will improve Sonic's relationship with Cream, unlocking new options that get increasingly more intimate. The actions you can choose from depend on the location. And
it's I hate this. I hate this because shit like this is why the UK government thinks they can do what they do in terms of, like, internet censorship and stuff like that. Like, hey, we want to police your speech. We want to police, what you do on the internet. Oh, the child safety and whatnot. Again, I vehemently disagree. As we already talked about in the first video we went over today about, taking the fight to the UK, being anti-internet censorship. Like, however, when you've got people who are exercising their freedom and they're using it for shit like this, I get it. I still vehemently disagree with the UK government. I think the Online Safety Act is absolutely, it's obviously an objectively bad thing that's really being used as a way to flex control over adult lives. It's not actually about protecting children. However, if I was a fucking 45-year-old mom and I was stumbling across my child's search history and I saw this, yeah, I'd get why they would think the Child Safety Act is a good thing. These people are at least in part the reason that we have all the shit that's happening now going on.
During my short
Oh my god, the creator, Ink Bunny, is still active today and has a website? Look, I know we went to that fucking, like, lesbian workout gym Instagram. And their website. We ain't going to this website. There's some shit even I won't do.
gameplay session, I noticed there aren't that many places to go. There is the kitchen, where you can feed Cream, the living room, where you can play games and watch cartoons with her, the bathroom, where you can take a shit and jack off, Cream's bedroom and Vanilla's bedroom, where you can, well, do the main objective of the game, and finally the city, where you can visit the park, the super mall or the beach. There are probably more locations that unlock as you progress, but honestly I couldn't bring myself to play this game for more than 20 minutes.
I mean, I'm trying to decide if I think it's commendable that he played even that much, but hey, you gotta get footage for the content, so like, I get it. I hope he took a nice long shower after this.
As soon as your touch and relationship with Cream's stats are high enough, you can make Cream do things like take her dress off or sleep with her. And even though the game centers around ways of Sonic getting his way with Cream, there are many other characters in the game that
What'd they do to my girl Sally, bro? They made her look like such a bitch.
you can have sex with. There is Blaze the Cat, Amy, Sally, Marine, not even Tails is safe from Sonic's predatory behavior. However, unlike Cream, these characters...
Why are people obsessed with making Sonic a fucking deviant? Like, he is literally a attitude with a heart of gold. That's his whole fucking character. I blame Ken Penders. I blame Ken Penders for all this. These motherfuckers were reading the Archie comics at the time, and they saw Ken Penders, you fucking made evil Sonic, like, you know, cheat with multiple women and whatnot, and frame the real Sonic, and they was like, oh, we love this storyline. Let's just make it pedophilic and pornographic. Ken Penders, dude, ruined the Sonic. It wasn't even DeviantArt, because how did the people in DeviantArt get the idea for this shit? Ken fucking Penders. If you guys don't know who that is, there's plenty of YouTube documentaries about him. Look him up. He's a fucking psychopath.
Characters are portrayed as adults, or at least they look like adults, so I don't really have a problem with this specific part of the game. But for the most part, the game just really centers around Sonic trying to get some with Cream. The other characters just appear from random events as far as I know, probably serving as a bonus for the gooners playing this game. The dialogue of this game also feels super unsettling, in a way that makes Sonic seem like a predator who can only...
No, he is in this game clearly a fucking predator. Literally, fucking predator.
Think about having sex all the time, with even the most mundane things in his day somehow making him horny. Like, you're watching a movie, Sonic gets a boner. You order a pizza, Sonic gets a boner. You are at your grandma's funeral, Sonic gets a boner. But that's not even the worst part about the dialogues. The descriptions of the sex scenes are insanely detailed. Like, way too detailed, to the point where it feels genuinely uncomfortable to read. And most of the time there isn't even an image on the screen showing what's happening, it's just a wall of overly descriptive text that sounds like it came straight out of a romance book made by a woman.
Why has every single chat or video the last 3 weeks come back to this book right here? This book has ruined the internet. This book has ruined the internet. By the way, this game was made by a woman, or at least I assume. The profile picture was of a fucking female furry, but that definitely doesn't mean anything in these furry circles. You don't hate Sonic fans enough, right? Like, do you know how shameful it is to just be a normal fucking Sonic fan because people like this exist? Because people like this exist. I cannot, in good faith, you talk about fucking, you know, I don't even want to say fucking Sonic the Hedgehog just because I use the word fucking all the time, because there's that that implication that can be used as a verb right there. Dude, Sonic fans, it's got to be, like, relatively recent, right? Because Sonic fans weren't doing this in, like, 1998 when Sonic Adventure was the big thing on the Dreamcast. Like, this came about later. Why? It's so... It's infuriating. Because I love this franchise. I love these characters. I love the movie. I love the games. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic Adventure. And then people like this fuck it all up for everyone.
And finally, I want to talk about the two endings this game has, both of which are determined by a statistic I didn't mention earlier called moral alignment. This stat goes up if Sonic behaves like a normal human being and does nothing wrong with Cream, and goes down if he behaves like Jeffrey Epstein. If throughout the whole game you didn't do a single questionable thing to Cream, you unlock the pure ending, where Vanilla comes home, tells you that you have Heart of Gold, and then rewards you with a fun time with Amy and Sally.
So let me get this straight. The good ending for this fucked up fan game, I mean, I wouldn't even call this a fan game, is that you bone the characters that are still technically underage, because, you know, this is Sonic and they're all fucking teenagers. How is this person not in fucking prison? How? I am disturbed, Nadia. Someone out there 15 years ago made a fan game from Sonic the Hedgehog where the whole fucking point of it is to plow a 9-year-old. These people are disgusting. I'm rethinking my stance on whether or not people should be allowed to have freedom. No more freedom for anybody. You lost your freedom privileges.
But if you did even one bad thing to Cream, you unlock the bad ending, where Vanilla catches you with Cream, and instead of getting mad, she says she's happy that Cream's first time was with a hero.
So in the bad ending, the mother of the child that you are babysitting says, well, at least you're a good guy. Deport. I don't care they're an American citizen. Deport. Again, Gitmo. Alligator Alcatraz. Fucking helicopter rides. I don't care. Shout out Nadia, member for 9 months, says, what the fuck is this? Why? I'll tell you why. Because Piranha Pout put this in the Discord for me to react to. And now we're here. Blame her. Shout out Zolozians for becoming a member, homie. Thanks for becoming a member.
Yeah. Basically, we have the shit ending and the even shittier ending, which pretty much sums up.
Butterframe and Gold says, this makes me think Christian nationalism is a good thing. Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Andrew Wilson was right about everything. I retract all my statements. I'm going to church after this. Thanksgiving is canceled. Now it's church giving. Thanks churching. Whatever you want to call it. Harwood Nides for a 2-banger says, why are you listening to women? You know what? I don't even have a good answer to that. You make an excellent point.
Women.
Thank you for the 2-banger, girly.
How bad this game is. Babysitting Cream is nothing more than yet another disturbing Sonic fan project.
It's not that I didn't know people made these games, Tiger King. I knew people made these games. But, like, I've seen enough of this weird shit on DeviantArt that as a Sonic fan, I have been making the active choice for the last 15 to 20 years to avoid other Sonic fans. So, like, I didn't really truly understand the depths and the depravity that it actually went to. Like I'm not that I'm advocating for it, but, like, if you want to do something like this and just, like draw something or even make this game and whatnot and, like, keep it on your own personal PC, don't get me wrong, that's still wrong. That's still fucked up. But at least it means there's some shame there. But to just like publicly put this out on the internet, attach your name to it, and be proud of it. I guess I just didn't realize that it went like to that level.
In the form of a fetish game. The creators do try to make some jokes here and there to make it look less bad. Like, wow guys, isn't it funny? A world where all Sonic characters just think about sex all the time. Look guys, Sonic is brutally raping Tails. Isn't that hilarious? Well, I personally don't find any of this shit funny.
The coder went dark soon after, but the artist is still around. I mean, yeah. I hope the coder got fucking paid. Have you watched J Sonic stuff? No. No, I don't like even acknowledging that this type of Sonic fan exists because, again, as a nice, pure Sonic fan, you know, plays the games and watches the movies and, like just buys the merch and immerses myself in the actual lore, reads the comics, shit like that. This is, like, I'm a Dragon Ball fan. I'm a Spider-Man fan. You know, like, I know there's Dragon Ball hentai out there. You know, I know it. I can't imagine, like, when we first see Pan in Dragon Ball Z. When we first see Pan in Dragon Ball Z, she's 4 years old, right? I cannot imagine that there is, like, fetish porn of Goku banging granddaughter Pan at 4 years old. Like, I'm sure that doesn't exist. Or if it does exist, it's not, like publicly out there on the internet and people are fucking proud they drew it or whatever. Right? I'm sure there's fucking Spider-Man porn out there. I've never seen, not that, I mean, frankly, I don't fucking watch this sort of fucking porn, but, like, I've never accidentally ran across, like, Spider-Man underage, that sort of gross shit. Because, like, Spider-Man fans seem to have, you know, some semblance of class or whatnot. They want their Spider-Man porn to be like him banging Mary Jane or Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, whatever. Why is it specifically Sonic? That's the thing that bothers me. That's what I don't get. Because I grew up playing these games, dude. I remember when Sonic the Hedgehog 3 came out on the Sega Genesis, and it was the greatest fucking thing I ever played in my entire life. I remember 1999, 9999, man. That was the date. Sonic Adventure. To this day, my favorite game of all time. I remember when that game came out. Never once did I have these inklings to think about Sonic in this light. Where did it go wrong? And why is it Sonic? Like, I cannot conceivably wrap my head around why. Why this franchise? Why this fandom? And not any other, like, tangentially related ones? Because if you grew up in the 90s, there was a bunch of cool shit, right? You had the Ninja Turtles. You had the Power Rangers. You had Dragon Ball. You had Sonic. You had fucking Marvel Comics, right? You had all this cool shit. And of all this cool shit, why is Sonic the one that these depraved, degenerate monsters gravitate towards? There's gotta be a psychological reason, and I'm curious about it, but I'm also weary to look into it because I don't want to end up on a fucking list. War Wizard for a two-banger says, Piranha Plant finally convinced me. Repeal the 19th. Facts. Agreed. Furries. It's always the furries. Right. Exactly. It's always the furries.
I just find it disgusting, and trying to label this as humor is so ridiculous that I don't think anyone would buy that. And that was basically the video. I probably should have given a warning in case you were having dinner, but oh well, I hope you enjoyed, and that's it.
I didn't enjoy this. I mean, you put a lot of work into it, and it was a good video, like well made objectively and whatnot, so I'll give you a like, and I'll share it to you guys in the audience here. Share it, just drop the link in the chat. Give the video a like at least, because he did put some work in to expose this gross shit. But what the fuck? Like for real, what the fuck? Again, I knew there was weird, like, fetish art out there. I've been on DeviantArt, not in many years, but, like, you know, you're in high school, you fancy yourself an artist, you go to DeviantArt, you see some shit, right? Not intentional, it just sort of happens, because that's the way the internet worked fucking 15, 20 years ago. But to proudly make a game like this, pay someone, assumingly pay someone to code this game, to put your name on it, to give it your seal of approval, Dude, it is no wonder that Sonic has the reputation it does. And like, because the Sonic movies are massive now, right? Sonic's on the come up, right? The most recent Sonic game has been awesome. Sonic Shadow Generation has been awesome. Sonic Frontiers is pretty good. Sonic Race Across Worlds has been awesome. The Sonic movie has been blowing it out the park, right? So you've got this resurgence of Sonic. You've got all these new fans that are children. And what the fuck are they going to stumble upon? And again, this isn't me being pro-censorship or like, oh, you know, again, the UK was right. We need the Online Safety Act. Because again, I'm anti-censorship. Parents need to fucking parent, be aware that this sort of shit's out there. But like, how many fucking freaks are going to be shoving this shit in this new generation of Sonic fans' faces because of the resurgence of popularity of Sonic? It's sickening, man. It's disgusting. So yeah, that's really all I got to say on that. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and help my mental anguish and suffering. Shout out Chippus Universe, 99-cent super sticker, truly appreciated. Through a banana, my man.
It's stupid. You're stupid. Stop being stupid.
Alright, we got one more video. And this one's, thank God, normal. We got one more video. Old Zelda was better. Now, I agree. I agree old Zelda was better, but I want to hear his arguments. Also, shout out, small channel, never heard of this guy, but 18K views. Dude, 18K views on not even 700 subs? Wild. Excellent job, man. Excellent job. Let's see you earn them 18,000 views. Let's go. Old Zelda was better.
The Legend of Zelda has drastically changed many times over the years. Sometimes for better and sometimes not so much. My love for Zelda started with the 3D games, starting with Ocarina of Time.
This guy's a youngin'. If his love for Zelda started with the 3D games, dude's a youngin'. Nah, bro. We go back to the OGs in these streets. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color, son. To this day, that's my favorite 2D Zelda game. To this day, my favorite Zelda game. That's the Game Boy Color. It's actually on the regular Game Boy. Then Link's Awakening DX was the Game Boy Color. Shout out. No shade, though. He got into it with Ocarina of Time. No shade. It's a good one to get into.
The way to even liking Skyward Sword. Which brings us to the point of this video. I miss the old Zelda. The first time we played Breath of the Wild was so memorable. Walking out to the Great Plateau, taking in its vastness and possibilities, ready to put...
I'll be real, I didn't like Breath of the Wild at first. It's not that I didn't like it. I knew it was good, but it didn't feel like Zelda. It was interesting. Oh, yo, shout out Chippus Universe for a 5-banger. You know what every Sonic fan needs? A banana. Maybe cocaine. No, Sonic fans don't need cocaine. Not at all. That would make shit worse. Thanks for the 5-banger, brother. Truly appreciate it. Anyway, yeah. No, he is correct. Like, running out into the Great Plateau and seeing the vastness and whatnot, it was beautiful. It was enthralling. But it didn't quite feel like Zelda. Now, I'm not a Breath of the Wild hater. I actually really like Breath of the Wild. But I am in the same camp as him, and I miss old Zelda and want to go back to that. It's this really strange dichotomy of, like, I can appreciate Breath of the Wild. I even do view it nowadays, and I have for a long time now, as a legitimate Zelda game. But there's still something missing.
Hours and hours into this new, exciting experience. I felt this way the first time I played Breath of the Wild, but since going back, I don't get that same feeling. And I struggle even going back to the newer games like Tears of the Kingdom, yet
So, very often, I frequently, like, when I play Breath of the Wild now, which isn't very often, but every now and again I get this itch to go back to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Just because I get the itch to go back to all the Zelda games at one point or another at various points. And it's usually when I want something ambient, right? Like, it's the same reason I play, like, you know, for example, Minecraft or whatever. I'm not going back to Breath of the Wild because it's Zelda. I'm going back because I want something zen and ambient, which is different than why I would go back to like Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess.
I still find myself going back so many times to these old classic Zelda games. Now let's rewind the clock to a simpler time. A lot of these games started out very similarly. Link wakes up groggy but determined. He gets his orders from an old magical tree or an overly cryptic owl or grandma, and then he sets out on his adventure. And then you've got the temples, the fire temple, the forest.
I'll be real. I don't know if I'll ever like any of those other dudes' videos. I don't know if I'll see any of them. Oh. He's earned a sub, though. Like, great editing. I don't even know if I'm going to agree with his points or anything, but, like, criminally undersubbed. How long has this guy been around? Hold on. Scamdrew. How long has this channel been around? Let's take a look here. 12 videos. Nice. Joined June of last year. Underwater in video games. Hit 1,000 views. The real hero. Why comedic characters make games great. I'm kind of interested in this guy's content. Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Yes, this video is from a year ago. This came up my recommended feed just a few days ago. This is really being pushed in the algorithm. Well, criminally undersubbed. Again, I'm going to be checking out more of this guy's stuff. Yeah, I'm going to drop, in case you guys are curious, I'm going to drop his link in the chat. All right, let's keep going.
Forest temple and the water temple, the holy trinity of perfection. Sometimes. The old Zelda formula was like reading your favorite book. You'd read it over and over again, and sure, it doesn't have the unexpected twists of a new book, but it was always a great read. After the Forest Temple, you knew that the Fire Temple awaited. It was comfortable. It was familiar. In the beginning, there was this game that I've already been talking about for a bit called Ocarina of Time. It was the 90s. We were all just getting to know 3D gaming and all of its beauty and all of its that. Ocarina of Time set the standard with its rich narrative and its structured gameplay.
And to this day, Ocarina of Time is the highest rated game on Metacritic of all time. By the way, Ocarina of Time's anniversary, 27-year anniversary, was just a few days ago. So shout out.
Start in the safe, serene Kokiri Forest, and then be put into this world-saving quest that takes you through different environments. Each step of this journey felt important and purposeful. Breath of the Wild lacks this structured progression. It just felt like a map with challenges scattered around, and then I'm wandering without any kind of purpose or direction. And while the free...
I don't agree with that criticism. It's not, or at least, I mean, again, I guess technically you can feel the way you want to feel, but like I also think that's not looking critically at the game. It's very apparent from the setup that Link is in a weakened state because of his time spent in the healing chamber for 100 years and needs to regain his strength. So your purpose is obvious, defeat Ganondorf, but you've got a sub-purpose, which is get strong enough to beat Ganondorf, and it does give you a sense of direction. The game guides you to go towards Kakariko first. Now, you can opt to ignore that, which lots of people do because it's this vast, big open world, but at the end of the day, like, it's not that there's no direction. The direction is what is the, in theory, most optimal way to get stronger. So, again, I don't think that's a very good criticism of Breath of the Wild.
Freedom to explore is great and all. It lacks the gradual, rewarding sense of discovery that the old games mastered. Something these games do that stands out to me is the way they plan a reveal. The way these games reveal their vast world slowly and deliberately was so rewarding. One section at a time instead of all at once. In Ocarina of Time, stepping out into Hyrule Field for the first time is a moment that I will never forget. And the world's...
This is something I think Tears of the Kingdom actually did better than Breath of the Wild. Because Tears of the Kingdom, you're still able to, like, go everywhere all at once, but because all these different parts of the kingdom are falling under some sort of turmoil, you get this wondrous sense of like, how am I going to fix this? What is the next challenge that you don't really get from Breath of the Wild? And I think Breath of the Wild is the better game between the two, but that's one of the things I think Tears of the Kingdom does better.
felt immense, even if they were technically much smaller than the new games. The gradual opening up of new areas, especially after becoming adult Link, added layers of depth and discovery. It was a world that expanded with your journey, even if some of the areas were still empty, making every new location feel earned. Dungeons. These were the heart and soul of these games. So much time and effort.
I'm so worried we're never gonna go back to traditional dungeons, man. I'm so worried about that. Like, guy, I don't give a fuck about shrines. I don't. They're a cool little novelty. Whatever. There's some interesting ones. There's some good ones. But I don't give a fuck, man. Bring back dungeons. Dungeons were... There's reasons. Like, multiple reasons that you could just... There's an infinite number of lore videos on YouTube about how the dungeons connect and what the subtle, like, the art on the wall means for the world buildings, and like, oh, you know, we're the Sheikah, like the secret police of the Hyrule family, and like, you know, the under the graveyard, you know, you've got like the torture chamber, and like the subtle world building of the dungeons is so masterfully done. And to have that subtle world building axed in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and I get you get it like throughout the open world, but it's not the same because it doesn't have that confined, claustrophobic, yet somehow also intimate, must pay attention to every detail sort of vibe to it. Man, we need to see a return to traditional dungeons.
Was put into each and every one. The Water Temple may have been the bane of many people's existence, mine included, but this was just a testament to the intricate design of these dungeons.
You know what? Never mind. I'll wait.
The satisfaction of finally beating all the puzzles and knowing you never had to come back was so incredible. And maybe this really isn't selling my point, but whatever. The themes of these dungeons were varied and imaginative. You've got the haunting forest temple with its twisting corridors and its ghostly...
Bro, man, the first time I saw that twisting corridor in the forest temple, like, blew my mind. I couldn't comprehend that video games could do physics like that. Like, I played, because I got to Ocarina of Time a little bit later, right? I played Sonic Adventure first. I don't think I played Ocarina of Time, because I know it came out in 96. I don't think I played it to like 99 or 2000, right? So I was a few years late on Ocarina of Time. Because I didn't have a Nintendo 64 growing up. I only got to play it at my friend's house. I played a Nintendo 64 at my friend's house. So yeah, because I was a Sega guy. I had Dreamcast. But anyway... Sonic could do all the loop-de-loops and stuff in 3D, and that made sense, because he was a fast character, so you had the momentum. But Link, just on a casual jaunt in the twisting corridor, and it would, like, flatten out, was fucking mind-blowing, bro.
Guys. And of course, the eerie, gravity-defying Stone Tower Temple in Majora's Mask, where up is down and down is up. Each dungeon was a well-crafted story inside of a well-crafted story.
Exactly. And Breath of the Wild doesn't really have that. Like, it does to a lesser extent. Breath of the Wild, does do this with its world building, but it's self-contained within the Breath of the Wild world. Whereas in Ocarina of Time, in Wind Waker, in Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, really all the 3D games, it expands on the Zelda lore as a whole. You'll see things that are references to Zelda 2 or A Link to the Past. It opens up Zelda as a franchise with its world building as opposed to within its own self-contained game.
Place the classic dungeons with these. And these. I'm gonna be sick. The shrines sometimes were clever and sometimes varied. They overall were just really forgettable. And even in Tears of the Kingdom, they just feel like bites.
The only shrines I remember off the top of my head are the ones where you had to actually use the gamepad to like move the ball and shit. And the only reason I remember them is because they fucking suck.
Little puzzles. And the Divine Beasts look kinda cool at first, but they lack that thematic design that the original dungeons just did so well. And I can already hear the two of you watching, which, by the way, thank you so much for your consistent support. I seriously, I really appreciate it. But I can hear you saying, oh, but Andrew, these games took such big risks and they're doing all these things that all these other games wouldn't want to do, and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
And taking risks is fine. Again, I like Breath of the Wild. I like Tears of the Kingdom. Lesser, but I like it. But they're not as good. They're not. They're not as good. They're not as well fleshed out. And the thing is, they're not as good because they're not Zelda. Like, on their own, as standalone games, I would think they're actually fucking masterpieces. But they're not. They're just not quite there with being Zelda. There's interesting ideas, and there's Zelda-esque things about them that I do like. But, like, from the moment they took away the green tunic being the default, it ceased to be Zelda.
When Nintendo made Majora's Mask, they took some pretty big risks that I don't think they would take today. They had to take all the assets from Ocarina of Time and use them to make a whole new game in just 1 year. Despite that, they pulled off something totally different and amazing. They weren't just trying to make a buck, they wanted to do something fresh. Fast forward to today with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, these games did new things and they have great qualities about them. But they didn't push the envelope.
Where they made a Zelda game where it's still open world but kept the traditional dungeons instead of the beasts. I'm okay with that, sort of. I don't have a problem with the open world in Tears of the Kingdom. I mostly have a problem with, again, for one, the lack of a green tunic. I know that sounds dumb, but that is a massive thing. That is part of the iconography of the hero. I think that you need to have that. So I that problem. Again, the lack of dungeons is a problem. I don't even have an issue with breakable weapons. I think that's fine. Now, I don't think the Master Sword should need to recharge. Once you get the Master Sword, that shit should just be the fucking Master Sword. That was dumb. But in terms of your regular items being breakable shit, that didn't even bother me. But yeah, you need to have the green tunic. That needs to be the fucking default. You can still change your clothes and shit. That's fine. But the default outfit should be the green tunic. Bring back dungeons. Bring back an emphasis on using actual tools. Like, having an open world is great, and being able to climb all over everything and whatnot is awesome. And you can even keep that, but there needs to be, because one of the things that makes Link a true, like, master of combat and whatnot is the tools. The tools don't make the man makes the tools. Link being able to just pick up anything and use it like a savant is part of his character, and I don't think that's very well implemented. So yeah, all in all, keeping the open world is fine. There's other aspects of Zelda that, they're more traditional that you need to go back to. Also, another thing that makes Zelda Zelda is the linear story, right? The linear storytelling and linear progression is part of what makes Zelda Zelda. Now, that's very difficult to do in an open world game, which is why all of the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom have to do with, like, getting the memories and stuff. So you're still experiencing a narrative, but you can do it in whatever order, Quentin Tarantino style. And that worked for Breath of the Wild because it was new and it was interesting. It didn't work in Tears of the Kingdom because it's just the same gimmick again, and you can only tell that same sort of story so many ways before it's stale. And it was already stale by Tears of the Kingdom. So, finding a way to do a linear story within an open world would be tricky.
And that's what Majora's Mask did, and that's why it's still such a standout game. The storytelling and the depths of these characters was truly something special, which leads me to my next point. The narrative structure of these games were...
Alright, he's about to bring up exactly what I was mentioning. Okay, cool, let's go.
Tightly tied to the gameplay. Your journey throughout the game, starting as an innocent child to hero of Hyrule, were marked by story milestones. Each dungeon's completion brought you to the ultimate goal of defeating Ganon and saving Zelda. It felt so immersive. You felt connected to the world and the people. The quirky, depressing residents of Termina, or the sages that you awakened along your journey. Each character added depth to this narrative. The structured progression made sure that the story unfolded in a deliberate way.
Because it is literally the hero's journey. I mean, the 3D Zelda games, at least the ones he's referencing, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, whatnot, they follow the traditional hero's journey structure. And that's why he is the hero of blank, the hero of time, the hero of the wind, the hero of Twilight, things like that. So, there's a reason that the hero's journey is a storytelling structure we have had for thousands upon thousands of years. It's tried, it's true, it's tested, and it makes sense. It speaks to our own internal conception, not conception, but realization and aspiration, importantly aspiration, of humanity. And when you go the open world route and you forsake the narrative of the hero's journey, you lose that you lose that sense of aspiration,
allowing you to savor every moment and fully understand the stakes. In Breath of the Wild, the narrative is much more fragmented. While you have the main quest to defeat Calamity Ganon, the main story is just pieced together through memories and environmental storytelling. This non-linear approach makes the story seem less urgent than the classic games do.
Right, and it's because you pick up in the middle of the hero's journey with Breath of the Wild, right? You find out through the flashbacks and the memories, which, by the way, aren't even necessary to beat the game. So, if you're already the hero, and you're just continuing, it's just picking up in the middle of your journey, well, you don't get the fulfilling emotional narrative of what it means to go through the hero's journey. And especially since the flashbacks and all that are optional, you don't even really get the fulfillment of even an out-of-order hero's journey if you don't take the time to get the memories. It's lackluster from a basic narrative standpoint because it doesn't follow, again, the tried-and-true method that humans have been doing for thousands of years.
Hello everyone, it's a new day. My hair is up because it's really hot in Chicago. There's like a heat advisory, so just ignore the shade. Continue with the video, go on. And the music. Koji Kondo's compositions were more than just background tracks. They were integral to the experience. The forest...
Alright. Now here, I'm going to agree and disagree with him. This might be a hot take, because, mind you, one of the most critical and crucial elements about The Legend of Zelda is the music. It is. I mean, bar none, I think The Legend of Zelda might have the most iconic music in video game history. Right? Because so many of the games are based around the idea of music. So the music has to be integral to the story. Because Link is basically a bard. Like, if you're going to put a D&D class on Link, he's a bard. So yes, the music is integral. However, now I used to have a major criticism of the lack of music in Breath of the Wild. I've since changed my stance on that. Breath of the Wild going for this more ambient, sound effect driven vibe does actually make sense from a design standpoint. Because if you're going to have this open world game, and it's going to be this large, expansive, lonely adventure. Because remember, you don't have like you don't have a companion or anything with you, like you have Navi or Midna or whatnot. It's a lonely adventure. Now, if you're going to be out, in the wild and whatnot for hours at a time, hearing the same music looping over and over would get old, and it also wouldn't fit the theme of the game. So while I do prefer Zelda to have very immersive music and think that's part of the series' core identity, for the type of game they made with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it is a smarter move to go with the ambient soundtrack.
Temple's melody that keeps me up at night, and the Great Sea theme, probably the most adventurous song to ever bless my eardrums, and the soothing serenade of Midna's lament.
Best song in Twilight Princess.
piece of music meticulously crafted to enhance the atmosphere of the game. The ocarina songs in particular were a stroke of genius. Not only were they great gameplay mechanics, but they also added to the emotional connection of the story. Breath of the Wild goes for more of an ambient soundtrack. While the music is beautiful and complements the open world vibe, it doesn't quite have the same memorable impact, just like I've been saying for the entirety of the...
Now, I kind of agree and kind of disagree. It doesn't have the same memorable impact in the way that, like, oh, catchy tunes. However, I find myself awake at 2 a.m. editing my YouTube videos. I'm in my head. Sometimes the ambient music for Breath of the Wild just pops in my head because it is more relaxing. It is more evocative of the sense of loneliness you get at 2 a.m. when you're up editing videos and whatnot. So, it's not memorable. It's kind of like, if you've got a pop song. Pop songs are incredibly catchy. You got your 4 chords. G, D, E minor, C. You got a simple hook. There's a reason that pop songs are catchy. Those are going to be stuck in your head far more than, like a song by Yes, an incredibly technical prog rock band. Now, there's a place for that music, and it's awesome, and frankly, I like that sort of music more. But it's more technically impressive as well. But it doesn't often get stuck in your head in a very poppy manner. So again, they serve 2 different functions, and I think they both are great at serving the functions they serve.
This video. Imagine Link has a shopping list. So he's got his sword, check, his shield, check, his boomerang, check, and... What the fuck? In Breath of the Wild, we don't get these iconic items as a reward. You start with all your core abilities through the Sheikah Slate right from the beginning. This design choice encourages a more sandbox-like approach where you're free to tackle challenges any way that you want. That flexibility is great, but it also takes away from the sense of accomplishment that comes with finding and mastering new tools.
Well, it also takes away a sense of exploration. Now, mind you, there's a trade-off. Now you can explore on your own, and so your sense of exploration comes from you making active choices with the way you control Link. But using the items as a sense of exploration gives you a sense of accomplishment in that you had to earn the item to now get to these locales and locations that you were not able to before. So, again, I prefer the item-based exploration. However, for an open-world game, it makes sense to do what they did, even if I'm not particularly a fan of it.
Older games didn't just hand you the tools for your journey, they made you earn them. Each dungeon was more of a rite of passage. You had to prove yourself using the tools you had in one area before moving on to the next. The hookshot wasn't just a nifty grappling device, it was essential for reaching otherwise inaccessible areas.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with that, Les's games. He says, keep the open world, I'm going back to my earlier point, keep the open world, bring back dungeon structure, use items from dungeons to reach new areas in the open world map would be the best Zelda ever. And I mostly agree with that. I don't know, now again, I'm not a game designer, so maybe this could be done, maybe it is possible, I don't know. I don't know how you could do open world justice while also capping off locations that are inaccessible until you get the right tool. Maybe there is a way to do that. Maybe it would work. I just don't know how. I would have to see it done. I can't really conceptualize it.
And the iron boots weren't just heavy footwear. They allowed you to walk underwater and access new parts of the water temple. Compare this to Breath of the Wild, where the emphasis on items drastically changes. Sure, you still have items like your paraglider and a plethora of weapons, but they often feel more like tools for survival that break in 3 swings than keys to progression. The final point I want to make is how the puzzles are integrated into the older games. In the classic Zelda games, puzzles were part of the environment. Dungeons were designed to feel natural within the world, with puzzles seamlessly woven into the narrative and structure of the game. In Breath of the Wild, puzzles are often contained within shrines, which are...
And if they're not contained within shrines, overworld puzzles are just used as a way to find hidden shrines. Like, Cass's Quest, for example. Like, they're there. The puzzles are there, but they're not. I'll be real, guys. They ain't brain busters. Like, as a kid, there was times of Ocarina of Time where I was fucking stuck, son. It would take me months to figure out a puzzle. I've 100% completed Breath of the Wild with ease, mind you, 2 or 3 times. Like, let me tell you how fast I was able to complete Breath of the Wild on my second playthrough. Before Tears of the Kingdom came out, I played and beat Breath of the Wild once, right? I played and beat it once. And it wasn't 100% completion. I didn't get all the shrines. I didn't get all the outfits, all the things like that. I got enough to go through and beat the story and whatnot. Then, Tears of the Kingdom was about to come out. Came out in 4 days. So I said, I'm going to test myself. I'm going to see if I can 100% complete Breath of the Wild. 100%. All shrines, all memories, all the story stuff, everything. Except the Korok Seeds. Fuck that. Beyond the Korok Seeds, everything else, 100% within 4 days. And I did it. And it was only my second time ever playing the game. I was able to 100% complete Breath of the Wild on the second playthrough in under 4 days, right before the release of Tears of the Kingdom. Because it wasn't difficult. It's time-consuming, but it's not difficult.
Clearly marked and separated from
By the way, for all those people out there, motherfucker, oh, these grifters don't play games. Bitch, let's see you 100% complete Breath of the Wild in under 4 days.
rest of the world. They feel like isolated puzzle boxes rather than integrated parts of the world. The transition from exploring the open world to solving shrine puzzles can be a bit jarring, rather than having puzzles flow naturally from your surroundings. So where does this leave us? The new open world Zelda games offer unparalleled freedom and a vast, beautiful world to explore. They break away from the linear paths of the past, encouraging creativity and experimentation. But in doing so, they lose the structured charm and satisfaction of the classic formula. Nintendo has stated that they do not intend to go back to the original formula.
And that's my fucking biggest point of contention. Why? Like, and part of me gets it, right? Part of me gets it. Because, you know, Breath of the Wild just did gangbusters numbers. Highest selling Zelda game. Tears of the Kingdom may have beat it. I don't know. The point is, it did gangbusters. However, guys, there's only so far you can go with that fucking type of game design. And by whatever the next mainline Zelda game is, which I will buy because I'm a sucker for Zelda. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time when it comes to gaming, so I'll still end up fucking buying it. But there is diminishing returns. You built a legacy with the original Zelda format. I mean, the Zelda format that we think of from Ocarina of Time and whatnot, even the 2D games follow that format. Link's Awakening follows that format. A Link to the Past follows that format, just in a 2D plane instead of a 3D plane. That is the core identity of Zelda. Like, I am truly worried about the future of this franchise.
And want to keep pushing forward with this new style in the open world. This statement is super disappointing to me, but in the past, Nintendo has also made statements that they would never go back to original controls after exploring motion controls with Skyward Sword. And we know how that worked out, so who knows? Maybe I will eventually get what I want and I can stop replaying the same 4 games over and over. I know a lot of this video has been me favoring and praising the classic games, specifically Ocarina of Time, but eventually I would like to come back to these ideas and talk about the things I don't love or the faults that I think that game has. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see videos
There are no faults in Ocarina of Time. It is fucking perfect.
that I have in the future, then go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. It'll help me out a lot. It'll help the channel grow and to get to more people. And watch some of my older videos. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, this is a great video. I really enjoyed this. There's some points I disagree with them and whatnot, but I really enjoyed this. Yeah, criminally undersubbed. Definitely give the video a like. If you feel like you give the guy a sub and whatnot. That was great. All in all, man, I am worried about the future of Zelda. I want to see Return to Classic Zelda. I don't think we'll ever get that. But if we can get some sort of hybrid, like Lesis was saying, between the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom formula and the classic formula, I mean, I'd be willing to make that compromise, so long as it's done well. Bring back the fucking green tunic as the goddamn starting point. That's part of the iconography of the hero. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna need a soapbox, though. And bring back a companion. I mean, a companion character was massively important to the iconography of Zelda. Whether it be Navi, whether it be the King of Red Lions, whether it be Midna. Like, again, those are important because, yes, Link is going on this journey, and it is the hero's journey. But it doesn't need to be done alone. Oftentimes, the hero's journey is done with others by your side. Luke Skywalker would not have accomplished becoming a Jedi and redeeming his father if not for the aid and the trust of Han, Leia, Chewie, 3PO, R2, without the mentorship of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, I like, again, sometimes I want the ambience and whatnot, but I think that a companion character is necessary for The Legend of Zelda. I even like Fi. I know a lot of people hate Fi, and Skyward Sword's not that great. It's pretty fucking mid, all things considered. But I don't mind Fi. I like what Fi adds to the lore. You know, the spirit of the Master Sword. There's so many things I think they can improve on that harkens back to the identity that is Zelda as we've come to know it for over almost 30 fucking years, while still keeping in line, I guess for lack of a better term, with what these new players are asking for, what these new players have come to expect because they're young. And I mean, the Switch is the highest selling Nintendo console fucking ever. I think it's the second highest selling console of all time after the PS2, or maybe it's the third highest after the PS5. Either way, point is, you know, it absolutely the PS5. So it's the second highest after the PS2. They're not changing the formula drastically, or they're not going back to the original. But you gotta give something to us older fans, man. You do, because if a new Zelda comes out and it's just another Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, I don't know that I would have anything positive to say about it. I was already pretty upsetty spaghetti with Tears of the Kingdom and the way it, like, disregarded traditional Zelda lore, and you really had to fucking headcanon some shit to make it work within the confines of the existing Zelda timeline. But yeah, all in all, this is a good video. This is a good video. So yeah, I appreciate that we got to react to this today. Excuse me, that was, let's see, give me one moment here. Check something real quick. Okay. Let's see who's live, because we're going to do a raid. We're going to wrap up. Let's see who's live. Let's see who we raiding. Thank you for blessing me. Alrighty. Who is live? We got Tomby, we got Mama Akko, we got Yarnwitch. Yarnwitch raided me. Why is she live again? I'm so confused. Well, Yarnwitch raided me, so let's raid her. Let's raid Yarnwitch. She raided me, so we'll raid her. Alright, guys. Housekeeping at the end. First of all, shout out. Thank you so much for the donos. Truly appreciate it. Means the absolute world to me. Again, I only get to do this because of your guys' generosity. We will be streaming tomorrow. We will be, I know it's Thanksgiving, but not everybody has, someone to go to or family to go to or whatnot. Obviously, I want to give you guys, if for whatever reason you're alone or you don't have family plans for the evening or whatnot, Vital Isle community, we look after our own, we sit together. So I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'll be doing the lunch hour 1 hour early, and I'll probably go over about the same length of time, about 3 hours. I will go from noon my time to about 3 p.m., because my family dinner's at 3 p.m., so I guess it'll be like 20 minutes late to that. But yeah, I want to make sure that we have just this good invested time together, something for you guys to do. And beyond that, I think that's everything. So yeah, make sure you go on over to the Yarnwitch stream, set Vital Idol Raid. Again, thank you for the donos. I got videos coming out on the gaming channel tonight, and if you haven't watched, I didn't put out a video today. Never mind, I don't have a gaming video coming out either. I put out a video on the gaming channel yesterday. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Truly appreciate it, and until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.